Chapter 427. If you have a sister and a wretched, perverted, womanizing, hedonistic young master came to tease her, what would you do? A man's voice came from somewhere. This person's voice had a special magnetism to it. It was mature, pleasing to the ear, deep and sonorous. Anyone who heard it couldn't help but associate it with rationality and steadiness. However, the content of his words was surprisingly sharp, forming a strange contradiction with his voice. The two were opposites yet compatible, rational yet indignant, steady yet sharp. Yu Yang had seen many powerful people, but he had also seen many weird people. The person who spoke was definitely one of them. He could even be considered as one of the unique ones. In the entire soaring dragon continent, if Yu Yang claimed to be number 2 in terms of quick-wittedness, no one would dare to claim to be number 1. Hearing this person's rebuke, if it was someone else, even if they didn't break out in cold sweat, they would still feel embarrassed. However, Yu Yang was different. He laughed out loud. That would depend on whether he did it intentionally or unintentionally. The person who was rebuking him seemed a little stunned. He paused for a moment. If he did it intentionally, what would you do? I would chop him up. Yu Yang waved his hand and pretended to be filled with righteous indignation. Whoever dares to take liberties with my sister is courting death. What if he did it unintentionally? Standing in front of Yu Yang, the little handsome boy who could make people's heart beat faster even when he didn't smile and could make people's blood boil when he smiled, asked deliberately. I don't care if he did it intentionally or unintentionally. As long as he teased my sister, I would chop him up without hesitation. He didn't even bother to find out what kind of person this young master is. Is this young master a reasonable person? Yu Yang replied proudly. Not a bad answer. Looks like I really have to learn from you. That magnetic voice replied. Please don't worship me too much. Yu Yang played with his hair narcissistically. No matter what, I want to experience Yu Clan's third young master's ultimate skills. Especially his Nirvana Flame and World Exterminating Wheel. They are famous for a long time. The magnetic voice seemed to have made up its mind to fight with Yu Yang. Of course, this fight seemed to be a personal grudge and would not affect Yu Yang's current negotiation process. It's rare for you to be humble enough to ask for advice. As your son-in-law, I'll reluctantly give you some pointers. Yu Yang boasted shamelessly. Standing behind Yu Yang, Sky Sword's face twisted. He almost vomited blood and died. My goodness, it seems like this brat's shamelessness has already reached the realm of killing without spilling blood. Talking to him for a few more sentences will simply provoke internal injuries. The drum-beating giant was even more unbearable. He shouldered his drum of regret and strode away without looking back. He decided that he wouldn't talk to Yu Yang anymore. He didn't even want to meet this brat anymore. He was afraid that if he interacted too much with this brat, he would be led astray by this brat. Although he admitted that he wasn't a good person and his hands were stained with blood, he still had some principles. However, if he got too close to Yu Clan's third young master, the drum-beating giant reckoned that his basic principles would collapse. Just from this point of shamelessness alone, even if all the bad people in the demonic palace were added up, they wouldn't even amount to half of this brat's shamelessness. This kind of person couldn't be provoked at all. Hence, the drum-beating giant hurriedly avoided him. As for the matter of Sky Dragon being killed, he even suspected that Sky Dragon was angered to death by this brat. I want to know what Yu Clan's third young master will say to convince our demonic palace to help the Xia. Another demonic, thorn-like voice rang out. This person's voice made people feel uncomfortable, as if there was a thorn in their body that they couldn't pick out. Their hearts felt extremely uncomfortable. According to their strength, this demonic thorn-like voice should be almost as strong as the magnetic voice just now. Yu Yang reckoned that these two people were most likely the 4th and 5th of the demonic palace's sky demons, Sky Calamity and Sky Crime. As for the handsome guy who dressed up as a man to tease Yu Yang and got taken advantage of, there was no need to talk about it. She was definitely the 6th sky disaster, known as the one with the highest talent and the fastest improvement in the entire demonic palace, Sky Disaster. Yu Yang reckoned that the drum-beating giant who left with the drum-beating giant was Sky Fury. In addition, There was another person whose aura was almost invisible standing within 10 meters of Yu Yang, but Yu Yang couldn't see him with his naked eyes. That person was Sky Assassin. This Sky Assassin's invisibility ability was extremely strong. If Yu Yang hadn't used his Heaven Eye Divine Vision to look at the cross-dressing Sky Disaster, he wouldn't have realized that this silent killer was already within 10 meters of him. Although Sky Assassin's invisibility within 10 meters was successfully concealed by the sword chi emitted by Sky Sword's glare just now. But even so, Yu Yang already admired him very much. With this kind of invisibility ability, it was no wonder he was called Sky Assassin, as expected of a natural assassin. Now, almost all the 10 great sky demons were here. Only the strongest Sky Execution, the third-rank Sky Wrath, and the Sky Law, Impatience who left without saying goodbye after waking up for hibernation were not here. Perhaps these three people were watching from a place that Yu Yang couldn't sense. Because Sky Calamity, Sky Crime, Sky Disaster, Sky Fury, Sky Assassin, Sky Sword, and the others were here, their aura blocked the extension of Yu Yang's senses. It was like some kind of encirclement, hiding some kind of ancient formation, cutting off Yu Yang's external senses. Therefore, Yu Yang couldn't determine the current location of Sky Execution, Sky Wrath, and Sky Law. Convince you? No. I've always been too lazy to waste my breath on these hopeless fellows. Yu Yang's words shocked them to death. Hey, be more polite to your family. Sky Disaster, who was disguised as a man, warned Yu Yang not to be too arrogant. I'm speaking the truth. Yu Yang revealed an evil smile. He almost said, Little sister, Uncle will bring you to see the goldfish, okay? Sky Disaster's hair stood on end from this brat's gaze. Yu Yang suddenly became serious again. He coughed a few times and lectured them like an old man. Actually, I don't blame you, because you are all frogs at the bottom of a well. Your knowledge is shallow, and it's normal for you to be hopeless. It would be strange if you could be wise and sensible. Wait, don't hit me first. I still have something to say. Seeing that Sky Disaster was about to punch someone, Yu Yang hurriedly waved his hands. Unknowingly, a person sat beside Yu Yang. He casually sat on the ground with his legs stretched out. His upper body was only wearing a coarse hemp shirt, and his neck and arms were wrapped with long black gold chains. There was also a large, unadorned box beside him. This man, dressed like a farmer, had a stubble of beard. He looked very old, like an uncle in his 40s. His appearance was very inconspicuous. However, this person's strength made Yu Yang slightly shocked. On the surface, he looked like a level 1 and 8, but Yu Yang guessed that this farmer-like uncle was at least a level 8 and 8, or even close to a level 9 and 8. His gaze was calm as he looked at Yu Yang. He didn't seem to be angry or happy, but there was a kind of invisible aggressiveness, like a ferocious tiger hiding in the forest, ready to attack at any time. It made people unable to sense its existence, but in fact, it was already a disaster. You are Sky Disaster? Yu Yang turned around and asked. Sky Crime. The uncle used his calloused palm to caress the large, unadorned box, causing the heavy black gold chains to clank. Why doesn't that Sky Disaster come out to meet me? Yu Yang asked again. Haven't you heard of once Sky Disaster comes out, everything will be destroyed? He wants to kill once he comes out. If you want to kill yourself, I'll call him out. Sky Disaster teased Yu Yang with a smile. Forget it. I'm different from you. I don't like being abused. Yu Yang immediately retorted. If Yu Clan's third young master doesn't have a better reason, then I'm going to make my move. Sky Disaster, who was hiding somewhere, spoke impolitely. Indeed, his strength was above Sky Crime's and was close to the Impatience's. He didn't need to worry about Yu Yang as much as Sky Sword did. Even if he didn't have the confidence to kill Yu Yang, it was still possible for both of them to fight until they were covered in wounds. I'm not going to convince you guys, because you guys are all stubborn and smart. You guys are all stuck in a dead end. You guys are just a pain in the ass. I'm too lazy to persuade you guys to make your move. Anyway, Black Hell King destroying Xia has nothing to do with me. At most, I won't return to Yu Clan Castle. I'll go live in Heaven Realm soon. I'm in the process of immigrating, and my green card is ready. What's there to be afraid of? What God's ruins, what ancient passage, what martial soul, what divine equipment, all these are nothing. Anyway, I'm a bachelor. If you guys aren't afraid, why should I be afraid? Yu Yang laughed out loud. If I remember correctly, a certain third young master is a filial son and a sister complex. Isn't that so? Sky Disaster tilted her head and blinked her eyes mischievously. Bring forth mother and my sister away. I don't care about the other clansmen. Black Hell King can't do anything to me. Moreover, if the Xia is destroyed, Black Hell King will turn his attention to your demonic palace. He definitely won't chase after a few small fries. But it's hard to say for you guys. Your family business is very big and coveted. Humph. Yu Yang started to threaten the other party. Do you think Black Hell King can take down our demonic palace? Sky Crime's unique magnetic voice rang out. No. Yu Yang shook his head. Then you're talking nonsense. The most nonsense of all nonsense. Sky's sword couldn't hold it in anymore. Even if he was teasing a kid, he shouldn't talk like that. Black Hell King can't. What if we add Shun Tian, Black Prince, Thousand Goblin Sect leader, and Thousand Goblin King who is about to be released? Yi Yang asked back. Still no. Heaven Realm thought for a while and replied seriously. Even if we add Great Demon King Baruth and Ha Xen from the Demon Abyss, they can forget about taking down our demonic palace without any losses. Third young master of you clan, looks like you don't really understand our demonic palace. What if we add 2 more people? Yu Yang laughed. What if we add Scarlet Concubine and Scarlet Emperor? Who? When these 2 names came out, even Sky Calamity, who was like a devil thorn, couldn't help but reveal a shocked tone. Scarlet Emperor. Looks like my wife didn't tell you guys. Yu Yang laughed like a little fox who had stolen a chicken. A few days ago, I accidentally saw Shun Tian and Black Prince releasing an extremely powerful ancient rancor from the evil dragon, Lair's ancient seal, Scarlet Emperor. If you guys aren't familiar with this guy, I can tell you the other person's name, Prison Emperor. Scarlet Emperor was Prison Emperor's sworn enemy 6,000 years ago. As for Black Hell King, he's nothing. He's just a dog under Prison Emperor, and a lowly dog that betrayed his master. How can he be compared to Scarlet Emperor? Scarlet Emperor, is he really that scary? Sky Disaster's expression changed a little, but he was more suspicious. When Yu Yang heard this, a smile immediately appeared on his face. As long as he could move the other party, then this deception could continue. As long as he continued to add fuel to the fire and join forces with Demonic Palace, would there still be a problem? Chapter 428. The Scarlet Emperor is very scary? How can you describe him as scary? Yu Yang felt that this description was not good enough. If he's not scary, then he's cute. Sky Disaster had to go against Yu Yang. The Scarlet Emperor can only be described as hateful. There's no other suitable word. When Yu Yang mentioned Sky Disaster, he was happy, but Sky Crime and the others felt uncomfortable. How many people could make the Yu clan's third young master feel that he was hateful? The legend of the Prison Emperor was very old. There weren't many. But everyone knew that the Prison Emperor was a super strong warrior 6,000 years ago. His power was so strong that he could fight against the 3 great leaders of Heaven Realm. Although Sky Law didn't tell everyone, everyone knew that she went to help Yu Yang pass through the Prison Emperor Divine Palace. They were very worried at that time. No matter how long the 3 great leaders of Heaven Realm had been sealed, once they were unsealed, there wouldn't be existences that the warriors of the lower realm could fight against. No one knew the process of the battle in the Prison Emperor Divine Palace. Sky Law, who quietly returned, did not tell them about the process of the battle. She only said that the 3 great leaders of Heaven Realm had successfully broken free from the seal and left the Prison Emperor Divine Palace. Even Sky Execution was shocked by the unimaginable process of the battle. However, because of the even more unbelievable Yu clan's third young master, not only did Sky Law not die in the battle, her power had increased greatly, reaching innate level 10. What was even more strange was that every time Sky Law cooperated with Yu Yang, her power would increase rapidly. When she was still helping Yu Yang to fight against Shun Tian, the Black Prince, and Baruth in the Demon Palace, Sky Wrath's power was catching up to her. After this battle, she cast aside Sky Wrath and became the second strongest Great Sky Demon in the Demonic Palace. After the battle in the prison Emperor Divine Palace, even Sky Execution was shocked by her speed of improvement. In less than 3 months, she had already reached innate level 10. In fact, there was even greater potential to be unlocked. Breaking through to the innate sovereign realm was just a matter of time. Sky Wrath was practically in tears, because in just 3 months, he'd been left far behind by Sky Law. What made Sky Wrath feel so much pain that he wished he was dead was that Clan's third young master had taught Sky Law some secret technique, causing Sky Law's level to get lower and lower, dropping from innate level 10 to innate level 9. However, his strength did not drop and instead increased, causing the demonic palace's Sky Demon's eyeballs to fall to the ground. It was also because of this secret technique that Sky Execution, Sky Wrath, and the others understood that Clan's third young master's low level was not because he could not level up, but because he did not need to level up at all. He could also use his low level to surpass others' high level. Facing such a freak, even someone as strong as God's Retribution was speechless. If he could learn this secret technique that allowed his strength to increase instead of decreasing, the demonic palace's 10 great sky demons will be able to sweep through the entire Sky Split Tower. The problem was, the Clan's third young master was only willing to teach Tion Fa. Although everyone longed for this secret technique, they would definitely not force Tion Fa. After all, there were many things that depended on fate to obtain. Just like the beasts and skills in the grimoire, they could only wait for the heavens to bestow them. They could not force it. Even if they forced it, it might not be suitable for them. After the battle in the prison Emperor Divine Palace, the Heaven Realm's 3 great leaders had shocked the demonic palace's sky demons. Now, another Scarlet Emperor appeared. The Heaven Realm's 3 great leaders were fine. They had all returned to Heaven Realm. However, the Scarlet Emperor was not from Heaven Realm. He would definitely stir up trouble in Tong Tian Tower. Thinking of this, Sky Calamity, Sky Crime, Sky Disaster, and Sky Sword's head started to hurt. Once the prison Emperor's Scarlet Emperor recovered to his peak condition, how would they deal with him? The Heaven Realm's 3 great leaders might not come to Soaring Dragon Continent again. Even if they came, they wouldn't come immediately. It would take at least 100 years. Everyone still had some time to prepare. The Scarlet Emperor was completely different. He would probably need at most a year's time to fully recover. What could they prepare in a year's time? Packing up their belongings and escaping was more likely. But the problem was, even if they escaped, where could they escape to? Tell me about the Scarlet Emperor. The more detailed, the better. Sky Crime's expression was very solemn. The black gold chains on his arms rattled. I dare not say how strong the Scarlet Emperor is, but I can be sure that this guy is not easy to defeat. When I went to the evil dragon lair, I did not expect to encounter such a thing. I was really annoyed by his arrogant look. In addition, Shun Tian and the Black Prince looked like lowly slaves. I was so angry that I conjured the Nirvana Fire Blade and World Exterminating Wheel to kill him. Yu Yang expressed that he was a pacifist. When he attacked the Scarlet Emperor, it was just to get rid of an evil for the people. Actually, he was a good student and the best son-in-law. Shun Tian, the Black Prince, and the Scarlet Concubine were there. Yet you charged straight at them. Sky Disaster's small mouth formed an O shape. She couldn't believe it at all. I really don't know if you were brave or stupid. Sky Calamity continued to use his demonic voice to stab Yu Yang. Without this young master's wise and decisive attack, all of you would have become stray dogs. Yu Yang was furious. He pointed at Sky Crime and the others and scolded. This young master was beaten to a pulp by the Scarlet Emperor. But for what? For girls? Or for fame? Wrong. I did it for you guys who have nothing better to do. When the Scarlet Emperor came out of the cage, if I didn't injure him severely, would you guys still have the mood to brag to me? You guys would have been hiding under the bed in fear. If it wasn't for me attacking the Scarlet Emperor in a fit of anger and taking out the Prison Emperor Divine Seal that the Prison Emperor left for me to eat and smashed it on the Scarlet Emperor's head, if it wasn't for me smashing his skull, you would be facing a strong and unscathed Scarlet Emperor right now. Furthermore, there were 2 powerful accomplices, Shun Tian and the Black Prince. You guys would definitely be dead meat. The Scarlet Emperor was severely injured by you? Under the combined attack of Shun Tion, the Black Prince, and the Scarlet Concubine, you could still injure the Scarlet Emperor? Sky Disaster really couldn't believe it. It's like this. Yu Yang narrated the whole story, adding oil to the fire. Of course, he added a lot of exaggeration in the middle. At the same time, he bragged about himself to show how wise and great he was. He almost didn't say that he saved the billions of people in Tong Tian Tower. Although everyone chose to ignore his bragging at the end, just the description of the battle was enough to shock them. The powerful Scarlet Emperor was completely beyond their imagination. Compared to the Black Hell King that they were relatively familiar with, the Scarlet Emperor was really much, much stronger. A thought flashed across the Sky Demon's minds. With the demonic palace's strength, it would be difficult to fight against the Scarlet Emperor. In order to completely fight against the Scarlet Emperor, Sky Execution, Night Empress, and Jizun would probably have a chance. As for this abnormal and rapidly improving Yu Clan's third young master, he was also one of the indispensable candidates. Only below the three great leaders of Heaven Realm. Sky Crime's expression looked very distressed. He sat back down beside the ancient chest and pondered quietly. It's a pity that Sister Sky Law had already returned to the demonic palace at that time. Otherwise, she could have helped you. Sky Disaster sighed regretfully. That's true. If she didn't leave without saying goodbye while I was asleep, the Scarlet Emperor's injuries would have been more serious. Yu Yang agreed, but he didn't realize how ambiguous his words were. How were his injuries? Sky Calamity asked carefully. He was on the verge of death. Because I wasn't satisfied, I waited for Shun Tion and the Black Prince to leave and fought with him again. But it still wasn't enough. I only managed to chop off one of his arms and one of his legs. If it was you guys, I'm afraid you would have been killed instantly by him. I'm not bragging, but you guys can try when you have time. I dare say that even if your boss Sky Execution met the recovered Scarlet Emperor, he wouldn't be able to handle it. Yu Yang tried his best to boast about himself in the process of describing, boasting that he was stronger than Sky Execution. Sky Calamity and the others were shocked again. This bout was really abnormal. The Scarlet Emperor was actually beaten to the brink of death by him. Do you know where the Scarlet Emperor is? Let's find him quickly and kill him. We can't let him recover. Sky Sword was anxious. He had just escaped from the Ancient Seal and was in his weakest state. If he couldn't be killed and the Scarlet Emperor recovered to his peak, there would be endless trouble. I'm sorry, I don't know where he is hiding. Yu Yang shrugged his shoulders, unable to help. Can you use your secret inherent skill to find out the exact strength of the Scarlet Emperor? Sky Crime suddenly stood up from the ground and stared at Yu Yang. Scarlet Emperor? I can't see his strength with my secret inherent skill. However, his concubine Scarlet Concubine is probably at heaven-ranked level 3, which is equivalent to our Elder innate level 3. In other words, other than Jizun, none of you are a match for the Scarlet Concubine at her peak. Once she recovers, all of you here will be killed by her in an instant. Compared to you guys, heaven-ranked level 3 is like an innate level 3 fighting against a level 7 Overlord or a level 8 Emperor. It's very easy. Yu Yang's smile was a little gloating. His smile was very annoying. For a moment, Sky Calamity, Sky Crime, Sky Sword, and the others were all silent. The Scarlet Emperor was already not easy to deal with. Looks like the soaring dragon continent really couldn't be at peace. Yu Yang's deception was effective. A victorious smile appeared on his face. He wished he could be like Zhuge Liang and wave a goose feather fan a few times. A voice that seemed to be extremely far away, as if it came from ancient times, rang out. Yu Yang felt that this voice was very strange. He felt that it was right behind him, but when he heard it, it was unimaginably far away. Without guessing, this voice was definitely the boss of the demonic palace, Sky Execution. Sky Execution only said one sentence. We can work together, but there's a condition. Yu Yang muttered. I knew it wouldn't be so easy. Sky Disaster heard and laughed. Boss told me before that the demonic palace doesn't have many requirements, just 3. First, Jun Wu Yu represents the ancestors to apologize to the founder of the demonic palace and kneel down to repent. Secondly, After defeating the Black Hell King, we will explore the ruins of the shrine and do our best. We will split the treasures equally and also share the Heaven Stairway's secret manual. Thirdly, we, the demonic palace, will take our revenge. We don't care how you pursue Sky Law, but since you killed Sky Dragon, we must kill you all. If you can escape, that's your ability. If you lose, then leave your life here. Granted, if you were me, would you agree to these 3 conditions? Even a child who becomes stupid from eating the Spirit Beast Awakening Knowledge Pill would not agree. Let alone me, the intelligent, never at a disadvantage. The U-Clan's 3rd young master who only bullies others and never lets others bully him. Yu-Yang firmly opposed. Can't I agree to the first condition? Sky Disaster was surprised. Compared to exterminating a country, this was much easier. You can ask Jun Wuyu, that old man. I can't agree on his behalf. A man's knees are worth gold. Moreover, he is an emperor. Yu-Yang was obviously not optimistic about this condition. Then let's discuss the second condition first, can't we? Sky Disaster asked again. You guys can't explore the gods' ruins. It's all up to me. Why should I share it with you? I won't do it. Moreover, you won't understand the Heaven Stairway's secret method even if you see it. If I don't help, do you think I'm a laborer? No. Unless you help me kill Thousand Goblin King, there's no need to talk about it. Yu-Yang was a typical person who would not be at a disadvantage. This kind of person was born to be a negotiator. Then let's discuss the third condition first. You killed Sky Dragon. We'll kill you once, then we'll have nothing to do with each other. What's wrong with that? Sky Disaster was even more confused. Little friend, have you ever seen an employee beating up a boss? I'm your future boss. I'll give you treasures, artifacts, weapons, and divine beasts. Not only are you flattering me respectfully, you even want to kill me? If you kill me, where are you going to find people to explore the gods' ruins? Do you know how to enter? Do you know what the Heaven Stairway is? Do you know how to go to the Heaven Realm? As an employee, you must have the awareness of being an employee. You say, Sky Dragon, this ingrate, wants to fight with me, the boss, for a girl. If I don't fire him and send him to hell, should I treat him like an ancestor? Don't stand up for this kind of idiot. That's the most annoying thing to do. Just tell me, how much betrothal gift do you want? I have plenty of money. Don't be courteous with me, especially your SOSO sister-in-law. If you want to have an affair, brother-in-law will consider giving you a chance. The shameless guy from another world used his godly skills to bluff them. Talking to you makes me dizzy. Sky Disaster couldn't stand this guy. Why was it that whenever things happened to him, he was always the one being reasonable? Actually, Eon was also very guilty. He didn't understand the Heaven Stairway and had never even seen it before. As for the inside of the gods' ruins, he didn't know how to enter it. He had never entered the outside and had only wandered around the ancient passage twice. Yu-Yang secretly rejoiced that the other party didn't know about it. Otherwise, he would definitely see through his bluff. Of course, no matter what, this momentum couldn't be weak. If he didn't understand, he must pretend to understand. First, he had to subdue the other party. As long as he managed to bluff these crazy people from the demonic palace, it would be too late for them to regret when they found out the truth. Of course, it wasn't that Yu-Yang didn't have any confidence at all. After all, Fourth Mother might know the secret of the Heaven Stairway, and the part of the inheritance that hadn't been completely digested, which might contain the secret of the gods' ruins. The pitiful guy's mother must have entered the gods' ruins before. She must know something about it, but he didn't know if he could sort out that knowledge in time. Even if we join hands, we must still fight. Sky Crime suddenly stood up, the black gold chains in his hands clanking. I thought you were the most honest, but I didn't expect you to be the most violent. Did I offend you? Yu-Yang was very puzzled. Even if we don't take revenge for Sky Dragon, we will still beat you up. Sky Crime said. Why? Yu-Yang was puzzled. Because you look like you need a beating. Sky Disaster laughed and explained. This explanation was the most speechless Yu-Yang had ever heard in his life. Welcome to the demonic palace as one of the 10 great sky demons. That voice seemed to come from the ancient times, but also from the bottom of his heart. Just like that, it ended the whole negotiation. After Yu-Yang heard it, he screamed like a kitten whose tail was stepped on. I didn't agree, You guys are forcing me to do something I can't do. I definitely won't agree. If you agree, Sister Sky Law will consider the matter between you and her, because she swore that she can only marry someone from the demonic palace. Sky Disaster didn't forget to hit Yu Yang when he was down. F***CK. Yu Yang finally couldn't help but curse. Sky Crime, Sky Sword, Sky Disaster, the giant Sky Fury who ran back with the beating drum on his back, the invisible Sky Kill, and the erratic Sky Calamity slowly surrounded him. It seemed like they were prepared to beat Yu Yang up. Even if Yu Yang entered the demonic palace, their original intention of beating him up wouldn't change. Yu Yang was furious. He took out his Hui Ji magic blade and crescent moon blade. If I knew that you guys are bandits, I wouldn't have talked so much nonsense with you. Who's afraid of who? Come on, let's fight. Sky Disaster, you are the worst. Don't let me catch you. Otherwise, I'll strip you naked in front of everyone and let you understand the anger of your brother-in-law. The few Sky Demon's expressions were very awkward. Was it really a good thing to have such a shameless guy join the demonic palace? Chapter 429. Sky Sword, who was standing behind Yu Yang, unleashed his full power. He waved the holy ranked ancient sword. The light from his sword was boundless. Yu Yang immediately summoned his grimoire and raised his protective shield. Of course, the protective shield alone could not completely defend against the holy ranked ancient sword's attack, but it could slow down Sky Sword's speed. In the blink of an eye, Yu Yang started to counterattack. His Hui Jin magic blade and crescent moon blade mysteriously struck the spine of the ancient sword. As the three of them clashed, a buzzing sound could be heard. The holy ranked ancient sword had a spirit. Although the spine of the sword was attacked by the two attacks, it defended itself and shook off the Hui Jin magic blade and crescent moon. However, Yu Yang's attack, which was infused with innate qi, was not easy to receive. Ding! A light sound. Sky Sword's right hand felt numb from the impact. He almost couldn't hold his sword anymore, and it almost flew out of his hand. Sky Sword felt that this brat's counterattack had hit his weakest spot. Using his strongest attack to attack his weakest spot, he felt so uncomfortable that he almost vomited blood. He never thought that his weakness was on the spine of the sword. He never thought that Yu Yang could see through his weakness. Luckily, this was not a life and death battle. Otherwise, he would be in danger. Sky Sword, who was forced back by Yu Yang's mysterious attack, felt a lingering fear in his heart. For a long time, he still couldn't calm down. He didn't know that Yu Yang had a mysterious skill called Divine Vision. It could perfectly combine with the innate invisible sword Qi's Heaven's Eyes realm, forming an even more powerful Heaven's Eyes Divine Vision. The moment Sky Sword attacked, Yu Yang could see his weakness. Of course, this was also related to the fact that Yu Yang had always been drooling over the holy ranked ancient sword. Yu Yang had Hui Jin magic blade and crescent moon, but his desire for treasures would never be satisfied. How could Yu Yang not be tempted by a holy ranked ancient sword? It was normal for him to look at it a few more times. Sky Sword retreated a few steps, trying to calm the panic in his heart. As the second attack came, the sword Qi soared into the sky. 1,000 swords pierced the heart. This 1,000 swords pierced the heart was one of Sky Sword's 3 ultimate techniques. It was rarely used, but in order to suppress Yu Yang's spirit, Sky Sword used all his strength. The entire ground seemed to have been sliced apart by tens of thousands of sword Qis. Sword Qis that were almost tangible appeared in the air, whistling towards Yu Yang's body. Among them, the most powerful one was the one with the strongest killing intent. It was the saint-grade ancient sword hidden among the thousands of swords. Its tip was like a cold star, pointing straight at Yu Yang's heart. Too slow. Yu Yang shouted. His afterimage was pierced through by tens of thousands of swords, while his real body appeared behind Tianjian. A powerful move with dense sword Qi was not necessarily useful. In order to hit Yu Yang, who had adapted to the Scarlet Emperor's high-speed attacks, the Heaven Sword had to be faster. With the power of Yang and Yin, Yu Yang's Hui Jin Magic Blade and Crescent Moon Blade seemed to be extremely slow, drawing a big circle on the left and right, as if they were in slow motion, slashing towards the Heaven Sword. Originally, Sky Sword thought that this kind of snail speed attack would not be able to hit him. However, when he raised his sword, he realized that his movements had become even slower and more snail-like under the opponent's pressure. Facing the two blades that were slowly slashing towards him, Sky Sword could only watch helplessly. It's over. Sky Sword could not help but break out in cold sweat. When the two blades were about to slash his nose, the Saint-Grade ancient sword suddenly flashed a dark golden pillar of light and automatically flew around his body to protect its owner. With two clangs, it blocked the Huijin magic blade and crescent moon blade that its owner could not defend against at all. However, this kind of protective action, even if it was a Saint-Grade ancient sword, consumed a lot of energy. The light on the ancient sword quickly dimmed, as if a strong warrior was exhausted and unable to fight anymore. Yu Yang laughed out loud and imitated the Scarlet Emperor's moves. He kicked Sky Sword's lower abdomen at an extremely fast speed, sending Sky Sword flying out. Although Yu Yang's kick was still far from the Scarlet Emperor's super speed, it was already somewhat similar to the Scarlet Emperor's. As long as he continued to improve and understand, it was extremely possible for Yu Yang to reach the Scarlet Emperor's super speed. He might even be able to surpass it with his talent. While Yu Yang was immersed in the pleasure of understanding while fighting, the drum-beating giant man Tian Nu rushed up and punched towards Yu Yang with an irresistible force. What made Yu Yang shocked was that this bull-like fellow's fist was really fierce. Without using any items or beasts, it was the first time that Yu Yang had seen someone who could break through his protective shield with just the strength of his fist. The giant fist was unstoppable as it landed on Yu Yang's chest. That kind of strength was more than the impact of 10 giant mammoths. Yu Yang wouldn't be able to withstand it even if he was a cockroach. However, even the Scarlet Emperor wouldn't be able to hit Yu Yang, who had the mysterious 3 styles, not to mention the bull-like Tian Nu. Yu Yang's body was spinning. Tian Nu's heavy punch caused pain in Yu Yang's ribs before it disappeared. At the same time, Yu Yang's counterattack had already revolved around the giant fist. Boom, 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 boom. It was a raindrop-like counterattack. Before Tian Nu could retract his punch, Yu Yang had already retaliated with 36 kicks. All of them landed on Tian Nu's chest and abdomen. On the 36th kick, Yu Yang even kicked Tian Nu's chin. If it was any other creature, not to mention a human, even Yi Kong's Herculean rhinoceros beetle, which was famous for its defensive power, would probably be flipped over. However, what made Yu Yang stunned for the second time was that Sky Fury staggered a few steps back, clutching his head in dizziness for 2 seconds before he recovered completely. Yu Yang was speechless. Was this fellow really a human? If demons and giant dragons saw Tian Nu's abnormal defense, they would probably have to call him Big Brother. Yu Yang didn't know that Tian Nu had the strongest physical defense in the entire demonic palace. With his naturally strong physique and endurance-inherent skill, he could be said to be the one with the most endurance in the entire demonic palace. If Yu Yang didn't use Nirvana Flame and World-Exterminating Wheel against this kind of human tank, he wouldn't be able to defeat Tian Nu with just his fists and kicks. Brat, you've successfully angered me. Tian Nu looked simple and honest, but he wasn't stupid. He knew that fighting with Yu Yang with his fists and kicks was the stupidest thing to do. He would only be asking for a beating and wouldn't be able to gain any advantage. He retreated 10 meters and picked up the platinum-ranked beating drum. He used all his strength and hit it hard with his fist. The whole ground shook. The loud dong sound made Yu Yang's mind go blank. He was so shocked that his thoughts almost stopped, and he almost fainted. Yu Yang didn't expect that the beating drum could make such a loud sound. He knew that the beating drum wasn't simple, and he was mentally prepared to defend against it. However, when the destructive sound wave came, Yu Yang realized that he had completely miscalculated. Right now, he was like a drunkard, swaying his body in a daze. Sky Disaster, who had retreated far away, was secretly laughing. Sky Crime, who had not retreated far away, used his fingers to plug his ears. However, his face was still distorted, revealing an unspeakable look. Tiannu's fame wasn't because of his endurance or his shocking strength, nor was it because of his temper. It was because the sound of this beating drum was as terrifying as the heavens' anger. Yu Yang didn't know about this. He was at a disadvantage. Who asked you to be arrogant? I'll let you be arrogant. Show me how arrogant you are. Tiannu was in a good mood. Once the heavens' wrath cry was successfully hit, the opponent would definitely be stunned. Even the powerful sky wrath would be stunned for 10 seconds. Yu Yang probably wouldn't be any weaker. With 10 seconds, Tiannu was confident that he could beat Yu Yang until fallen flowers and flowing water. His unstoppable punch came again, whistling through the air as powerful as a meteor strike. However, there had never been an enemy that could make Yu Yang suffer without taking revenge. The person who could take advantage of Yu Yang definitely hadn't been born yet. The moment the heavy punch hit Yu Yang's body, Sky Disaster's expression changed. She shouted, "Tiannu, be careful, you stupid cow." She watched as Tiannu defeated Yu Yang's afterimage, while the Real Yu Yang had already recovered from the stunned state and appeared on top of Tiannu's head. If that was the case, Tiannu would at most be beaten up. With his thick skin and flesh, he wasn't afraid of being beaten up. If Yu Yang used his Hui Jin Magic Blade and Crescent Moon Blade, Sky Disaster could also save him. However, when Yu Yang took out this treasure, not only Sky Disaster, even Sky Crime, who hadn't left his original position, quickly ran away with the big box. Because what Yu Yang took out was the spirit-absorbing clock. This was the Scarlet Emperor's treasure. If it wasn't for Yu Yang's Nirvana flame and innate chi protecting his body, dispersing the evil power of the spirit-absorbing clock, the Scarlet Emperor might have killed Yu Yang instead. This spirit-absorbing clock was definitely not a joke. When Yu Yang knocked on the spirit-absorbing clock, when the spirit-absorbing clock rang, not to mention Tiannu who was under the clock, even he himself felt dizzy. The terrifying sound waves swept through the entire Siema Valley. The main culprit that caused the collapse of the entire Evil Dragon lair was the spirit-absorbing clock shockwave. Although it wasn't enough to cause the Siema Valley to collapse today, it still caused a huge explosion on Sky Disaster, Sky Crime, Sky Sword, Sky Assassinate, and Sky Calamity. That was the collision between the shockwave and their protective energy. The entire ground was like a tornado in a desert, bursting up yellow soil, covering the sky and the sun. The cracked ground collapsed, and the cracks on the ground became even larger. Yu Yang also couldn't stand the lingering tremors and quickly kept the spirit-absorbing clock. At this moment, the entire Siema Valley was already beyond recognition. The ground was broken and the sky was dark. Yellow sand filled the sky. Tiannu, whose ears were bleeding, was like an idiot as he walked unsteadily. After walking a dozen steps, he fell to the ground with a thud, stirring up a cloud of dust. Snore, snore. Tiannu fell to the ground and let out a deafening snoring sound. Yu Yang was sweating profusely. Just this fellow's snoring alone was worthy of the name Tiannu. Although it wasn't strange for a man to snore, especially when it was said that the highest power output could reach 80 decibels and was comparable to the noise made by the cars on the streets, Tiannu's snoring was too exaggerated. It was like thunder and was even louder than the whistle of a passing train. Luckily, you don't have a wife, or else you'd be dead from the noise. Yu Yang exaggeratedly wiped the sweat off his forehead. What made Yu Yang sweat even more was that this assassinate, was able to sneak over while Tiannu was snoring loudly. His platinum dagger was silently placed on Yu Yang's neck. It wasn't until a small wound appeared on Yu Yang's neck that he realized he was being attacked. Yu Yang really admired Assassinate for his ability to sneak up on him. Yu Yang definitely wasn't that easy to fool, but Assassinate had successfully fooled his super strong senses. The afterimage disappeared for the third time. Yu Yang, with his neck red, appeared 10 meters away. Yu Yang wasn't easy to assassinate, so he easily teleported away. Assassinate didn't turn around. A treasure appeared in his hand. It was a platinum crossbow. He was shooting at the place where Yu Yang had just teleported to, as if he already knew that Yu Yang would appear there. This kind of judgment made Yu Yang gasp in surprise. Everyone in the demonic palace was indeed powerful, and he couldn't underestimate them at all. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The crossbow shot out 3 consecutive arrows. In an instant, they had already pierced through Yu Yang's back and penetrated his armor. This was because they were all gold-ranked demon-piercing arrows. Yu Yang's ice fire shield, which was formed from both flames and ice, were all pierced through. Even though they could block a level 5 innate's full power attack, they couldn't stop the arrows. It's impolite not to reciprocate. Yu Yang waved his hand, and the 3 arrows disappeared. Although the gold arrows were terrifying to Yu Yang, they were just gifts that were delivered to his doorstep. While Assassinate Sky was secretly regretting giving the treasured arrows to this greedy and shameless Yu-clan third young master, Yu Yang retaliated. The Yang ability in his hands formed a purple flame bow. Ice, lightning, and heaven runes slowly formed 3 purple ice lightning arrows. Seeing this, Assassinate Sky immediately escaped. He hid underground. However, the 3 purple ice lightning arrows roared and exploded the ground that Assassinate Sky just hid in. The terrifying power directly sent Assassinate Sky flying out from underground. Yu Yang waved his gold-ranked dragon-slaying spear and sent Assassinate Sky flying. If he used his gold-ranked dragon-slaying dagger, Yu Yang might not be able to defeat Assassinate Sky, the great master of daggers. However, Yu-clan third young master had always used his strength to attack the weak, and his own strength to defeat the weak. Why would he stick to the old ways and compete with Assassinate Sky with his dagger? After consecutively defeating Sky's sword, Assassinate and Sky Fury, Yu Yang thought that this battle was almost over. Unexpectedly, Sky Disaster, Sky Crime, and Sky Calamity surrounded him again. This time, it completely infuriated Yu Yang. He rose to the sky and condensed the heaven's Fury Fire Lotus that he had just refined. A terrifying pressure descended, causing Sky Disaster, Sky Crime, and Sky Calamity on the ground to have an illusion of suffocation and immobilization. Yu Yang, who was in the sky, condensed a purplish gold heaven's Fury Fire Lotus in both of his hands. When he reached his limit, his body was unhappy that he had reached the limit of his energy, so he pressed down with his heart. A huge palm force came crashing down. Sky Disaster immediately fled, and Sky Calamity also hid and dodged. Only Sky Crime, who was waving the black gold chains and holding the big box, chose to fight head-on. Sky Crime let out a painful howl. His voice was as terrifying as the mournful cries of thousands of souls in hell. Around his body, a hell demon statue appeared. He raised a simple and unadorned big box, forcibly resisting Yu Yang's oppressive palm. The ground under Sky Crime's feet exploded with a boom. With Sky Crime as the center, a huge palm print appeared within 10 meters. The palm print was clearly visible. It was no different from Yu Yang's palm. It was just that it was huge and 5 meters deep. Only a small earth pillar was still standing under Sky Crime's feet. However, even if Sky Crime looked down at his feet, he could not help but be shocked by the power of Yu Yang's palm, separated by 10 meters. A palm actually had such a pressure. Was this Yu-clan's third young master really human? Pervert. Sky Disaster was also scared to the point that her face turned pale. Although her main fighting power was the support of her beasts, without the support of her beasts, she could only use half of her martial skills. But how could Yu Yang summon beasts to help? It was just a contest of martial skills. It seemed that what Sky Law said before was right. If it was a contest of martial skills, it was impossible for anyone to win against this Yu-clan's third young master. He was not a genius in martial skills, but a big pervert that could not be described as a genius. Again, all of you come at me together. Let this young master see what you 6 great sky demons are capable of. Yu Yang's heroic spirit rose, and he boasted shamelessly that he wanted to challenge the 6 sky demons alone. This action, on the surface, looked very arrogant. But Sky Crime, who had withstood a blow, knew that this kid really had this kind of strength. Of course, no one would have thought that Yu Yang's extremely confident arrogance was actually a kind of disguise, a kind of cover-up. The real truth was that Yu Yang's mind was now gradually integrated into a new, wonderful realm because of the battle, and there was a great hope for a breakthrough. He had to use the external pressure to force himself to improve. And the six great sky demons were a great kind of pressure and motivation. Yu Yang wanted to use the power of the six opponents to push himself into a new realm. Just like a diver stepping on a springboard, he also borrowed the power to improve himself. All along, Yu Yang had fought with countless experts and gained a lot. At that time, because his life was in danger, his state of mind could not be completely integrated into the battle. Even if he was close to a new realm, Yu Yang did not dare to improve his comprehension in the battle. Now, the six great sky demons were the best enemies, and they would not really kill him. Where else could he find such a good sparring partner? Yu Yang immersed himself in the comprehension of the new realm without any scruples, and his body was completely under the control of his subconscious. Like a madman, he whistled, swooping down. There was a faint light of wisdom in the depths of his eyes. That was the sign of breaking through a new realm. Chapter 430. There had never been a precedent of six sky demons besieging one person. Even Sky Execution had never enjoyed this kind of treatment. After an hour of fierce battle, the six sky demons, whose faces were covered in dirt, looked angrily at Yu Yang, who was bathed in the light pillar of leveling up. After a fierce fight, not only did this brat not fall to the ground miserably, but he used everyone's strength to break through and level up. It was really unreasonable. When Yu Yang fought against Sky Calamity, Sky Crime, Sky Disaster, Sky Fury, Sky Assassinate, and Sky Sword, he used all of his treasures to their limits. Other than the secret weapons like the 5-color Divine Light and the Black Light that he didn't use, he used all of his treasures one by one. Only then did he barely manage to fight to a draw. 6 people working together was not the same as fighting one person. Fortunately, Yu Yang was already used to fighting one against many. He was experienced, and it was the time for a breakthrough, so he was not beaten to a pulp by the 6 sky demons. Today, the summoning grimoire also played a great role. Although Yu Yang did not summon any war beasts, the summoning grimoire's guardian war beast world was a special war beast that helped Yu Yang a lot. Its skills, primal chaos, and elemental domain were extremely helpful to its master, but it weakened the enemy painfully. Without its existence, it would not be easy for Yu Yang to fight the 6 sky demons. Of course, Yu Yang did not deliberately use the world, but subconsciously did it. After summoning the grimoire, he did not take it back. As a result, the 6 sky demons became more and more depressed and shouted that he was abnormal. The reason was that they discovered that Yu Yang's grimoire could follow its master and was always effective. If other people's grimoire was summoned, once it left the shield, the grimoire would no longer provide any protection. Yu Yang's grimoire made them feel very speechless. It was not like a grimoire at all, but more like a war beast with intelligence. It was too smart. I don't think there's anyone more abnormal than this kid in the world. Anything that happens to this kid is abnormal. Sky Calamity and Sky Crime didn't have the strength to ridicule him anymore. Forget it. If he was a normal person, he wouldn't be called Yu Clan's 3rd young master. Sky Disaster felt that this was good. Having a strange guy was better than being the same. Yu Yang did not have the time to care about these envious and jealous heavenly demons. Compared to ordinary martial artists, these guys' talents were also abnormal. It was just that it wasn't that exaggerated. Bathing in the golden pillar of light, feeling the beauty of the new realm, for a long time, he was still unwilling to withdraw from that new realm. The 6 sky fiends sighed desperately. To be honest, they were really envious of Yu Yang. At their level, it was not easy to make breakthroughs. They were practically drooling at Yu Yang's rapid progress. In the sky, the sand that had been stirred up by the battle slowly descended, and the sky gradually returned to normal. The messy ground was not easy to recover. Maybe the sandstorm in the Siema Valley would need tens or even hundreds of years to completely erase the traces of today's battle. especially the huge craters caused by the collision of innate powers. It might even take thousands of years to change the scene of devastation on the ground. After leveling up to the new realm, the first thing Yu Yang felt was that he was closer to nature. It was as if his heart had merged with the heaven and earth. His breath was the air, the sky was his chest, the earth was his body, the mountains were his legs, and his hands were together with his will, reaching into the endless space. It was different from the heart of nature. The heart of nature was compatible with all things in nature and could sense the living beings in nature. The new realm was far beyond that. Expanding in the heart of nature, it was as if he had become one with the heaven and earth, encompassing all things. The heaven and earth moved according to his will, and the energy was also released from his will. When Yu Yang broke through in the past, he felt as if he was a giant. He could raise his hand to support the sky and shake the earth with a stamp of his foot. But now, after breaking through again, he realized that he was no longer a giant, but the heaven and earth. Although his body was still his own, it was connected to the heaven and earth. Yu Yang thought that maybe the heart of earth that the barbarian cow shadow on man absorbed was similar to this realm, but hers was only connected to the earth. As for his new realm, it was connected to the heaven and earth, and even all things in it. After breaking through to the new realm, the devour, inherent skill in his body, which was not controlled by Yu Yang, became even more obvious and powerful. It could directly absorb energy from the heaven and earth to grow, and did not need Yu Yang to absorb energy after getting beaten up. Of course, Yu Yang also did not understand what this black hole was used for. Could it be that it was the universal pouch? Or could it be that the heavenly sword goddess's space needed a lot of pure energy from the heaven and earth, so this black hole continuously absorbed energy to supply its needs? Yu Yang could not understand these at all. It was something that Yu Yang could not control. It was just like how when Yu Yang fell asleep, he would automatically enter the dream realm to spar with the big lowly. That feeling was very similar. After fighting for so long, it has finally risen to Platinum Grimoire. Yu Yang's Gold Grimoire had risen to intermediate rank after the Golden Crowned Thorny Flower Queen's transformation. After that, after the battle in the Prison Emperor Divine Palace, he finally rose to advanced rank. After killing Tiger Nian, Nightmare, Demon Slayer Ai, Heaven Dragon, Jiang Ying, Dragon Girl, Five Elements Palace, and even ambushing the Scarlet Emperor, Shun Tian, the Black Prince, and the Scarlet Concubine, he did not level up because he rarely used his summoning grimoire. Today, after fighting against 6 sky demons and borrowing their strength to break through to a new realm, his summoning grimoire finally rose from advanced rank to beginner rank Platinum Grimoire. It could be said that if he had not ambushed the Scarlet Emperor and accumulated a lot of battle experience, Yu Yang's summoning grimoire would not have been able to level up. He now understood why it was easy to level up a summoning grimoire in the beginning, and why those who were very strong in the later stages all had a gold grimoire. The reason was that this kind of leveling up was not mainly affected by battle points. Even if the battle points were already there, it might not necessarily level up. After Yu Yang's summoning grimoire leveled up, it became even more gorgeous and dazzling. Just the radiance alone had more than 10 different kinds of lights, like the ripples of a rainbow. In addition to the halo of the world, it made Yu Yang feel as if he was in a rainbow pool. It was gorgeous, yet didn't lose its simplicity. On the extremely thick grimoire, there were 10 times more heaven rune circles and unique ancient runes than other platinum grimoires. They were hidden within the gorgeous and dazzling light. When people thought that this platinum grimoire was a gorgeous but fake existence, they would definitely be ruthlessly slapped in the face by these ancient runes. There had never been a person whose summoning grimoire had as many runes as Yu Yang's summoning grimoire. If one looked carefully, they would realize that the extremely fine lines were all formed by runes. Yu Yang remembered that after his summoning grimoire leveled up, he received the ancient code as a reward. He hurriedly opened it to take a look and was immediately stunned. He had used a lot of Heaven Eye's divine vision, but surprisingly, it did not level up. Maybe it was because he needed to make better use of it. Yu Yang could not understand the reason at the moment. However, the counterfeit inherent skill that he rarely used had leveled up and was even rewarded with a skill. Bewitching. When the owner of this skill smiles, it will trigger the special effect of bewitching, causing the target to be bewitched, only effective on the opposite sex. The rewarded bewitching skill could be combined with the counterfeit inherent skill. The stronger the counterfeit inherent skill, the more powerful it would be. More accurately, it was a special type of disguise. However, the effect was not to strengthen the user, but to confuse the target of the opposite sex. When Yu Yang saw this, he was extremely embarrassed and sweating profusely. Wasn't this forcing him to smile more often? If he was in a bad mood, this skill would probably be useless. Fortunately, it was rewarded to him. If it was rewarded to the ice cube guy Shui Tan Lang, he probably wouldn't be able to use it in his lifetime. Other than leveling up his counterfeit inherent skill, he was rewarded with a bewitching skill. His first guardian beast, Phantom, also leveled up. The timely leveling up made Yu Yang overjoyed. A man was currently in need of additional support for Phantom to level up. The reason was because she was originally one of the Phantom, so she had received more support from Phantom than the Bloody Queen. Now, a man was fusing with the Heart of Earth, try to break through to become a 2-star Holy Beast. This leveling up was simply timely. After Giant Shadow, Possession, Reconstruction, and Shadow Evasion, Phantom, this Guardian Beast had obtained a 5th skill, and that was Never Leaving Nor Abandoning. Never leaving nor abandoning. All the Phantom will exist according to its master's will. As long as its master is not dead, the Phantom will never leave its master. No special ability will be able to expel the Phantom from following its master. I've hit the jackpot. After going through the 5 Elements Palace, Yu Yang knew that beasts weren't omnipotent. In the 5 Elements Palace, even if a beast reached the acme of perfection, it still wouldn't be able to be summoned, unless it complied with a certain set of rules. Otherwise, no matter how strong the beast was, it would only be a tragedy. Now that Phantom had this ability, it made Yu Yang extremely excited. Forget about other things. At least Phantom wasn't restricted. Thinking about the tireless man, or even the Bloody Queen, with the support of the Giant Shadow, he could easily kill his way out of the 5 Elements Palace. If the 6th floor of Tong Tian Tower had this kind of rule restriction, it was hard to guarantee that the 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th floor wouldn't have it. Moreover, there might be some powerful people in the Heaven Realm, such as the 3 great leaders Mingyu Guang, Void, and Jiu Shao. Maybe one of them would be able to create a domain that forbade others from summoning beasts. If his own Phantom wasn't restricted, that would be the best thing to celebrate. Look at you smiling like a roasted dog. What good news do you have? Let me see. Sky Disaster came over with interest, wanting to see Yu Yang's summoning grimoire. Little friend, call me brother-in-law. Brother-in-law will give you candy. Yu Yang quickly closed his grimoire and turned to tease Sky Disaster. Be careful. I will complain to Sister Sky Law and ask her to punish you by making you kneel at the foot of the bed. Sky Disaster dodged Yu Yang's evil hands and raised her fist, wanting to punch him. Just now, this Sky Disaster, who was smiling on the surface, had punched Yu Yang at least 100 times. The strength of her punches wasn't much weaker than Sky Fury. This made Yu Yang's teeth itch. If there was a chance, he would definitely strip this girl naked and take back 100 times from her body. Sue me for flirting with my sister-in-law? Actually, I'm just an accomplice. I'm not mentally strong enough. I will definitely tell her the truth. I was seduced by some girl and couldn't help but cheat. Yu Yang thought about the feeling of touching Sky Disasters, but just now. It was really great. Of course, he couldn't let Impatience know about this. Otherwise, she would definitely drink a bowl of vinegar. He believed that Sky Disaster wouldn't dare to say anything. After all, she still cared about her face, unlike Yu Yang. No, there's something wrong with your smile. Sky Disaster looked at Yu Yang's face and was slightly stunned. She stared blankly for a while and looked carefully again. Suddenly, she exclaimed, "It's very similar to Sister Sky Law's charm, inherent skill, but it's weaker. Did you secretly learn her skill?" "No, That's her inherent skill. What's with yours? What did you say? Yu Yang was best at pretending to be confused. Actually, if he kept a straight face and didn't smile, the charm, skill wouldn't work. Sky Disaster thought that she had seen wrongly and was a little stunned. Suddenly, she frowned. She definitely suspected Yu Yang, but she didn't expect him to have such a skill that could stun people. Moreover, Sky Crime and the others didn't feel anything. Sky Disaster suspected that she had sensed wrongly. She snorted and got rid of Yu Yang's harassment. She flew far away like a wisp of smoke. After we finish fighting the Black Hell King, we'll come again. I'll let you understand the true power of the 6 great sky demons. I didn't use my beasts. Next time, I'll let you see what a real Sky Disaster is. Hearing this, Yu Yang got angry. He raged. Do you think I'm afraid of a little girl like you? Sky Crime coughed and walked over to ask, Third young master of the Yu clan, welcome to the demonic palace. Do you want to share your information? Yu Yang nodded with interest. Open your chest first and let me see. Sharing information is easy. What secret do you want to know? Use your big chest secret to exchange for it. Hearing this, Sky Crime immediately turned around and left. Yu Yang gave this guy the middle finger. His words sounded nice, but wasn't his biggest secret the one he kept in his heart? Of course, Sky Crime was right not to exchange for it. Because even if he opened the ancient chest, Yu Yang wouldn't use his real secret to exchange for it. Speaking of shamelessness, who could beat the guy from another world? Let's fight again later. Sky Calamity was the one who fought the least, but he was also the one who suffered the heaviest injuries. He was injured by Yu Yang even before he showed himself. The reason was because he had fallen into Yu Yang's trap. Under his heaven eyes divine vision, his high-speed movements were useless. He had suffered an innate invisible sword chi for nothing. This made Sky Calamity engrave this in his heart, and he swore to beat Yu Yang back. Student Sky Disaster, how old are you this year? You're already a few hundred years old, and an innate rancor at that. Why are you acting like a child? Be a gentleman. Moreover, I didn't do it on purpose. You were the one who collided with my sword chi. Don't you think I'm wronged? Yu Yang was still trying to act innocent after getting the upper hand. This made Sky Disaster so angry that he almost fell out with him. Sky Fury hurriedly carried the beating drum and left. Just now, Yu Yang almost snatched his beating drum. Luckily, he managed to snatch it back. As for Sky Sword, who had a holy ranked ancient sword, it was even worse. He realized that when Yu Yang looked at the ancient sword on his back, his eyes would light up. It would be weird if he wasn't scared. Sky Assassinate, who was originally an assassin, actually admired Yu Yang quite a bit. Perhaps he was the only sky demon who had a good impression of Yu Yang. Yu Yang secretly learned his moves during the battle and acted shamelessly. However, Sky Assassinate didn't care at all. What he saw was only a rancor who fought against 6 sky demons alone. Fighting is a good thing. Actually, we're all quite bored. Sky Assassinate threw down this sentence and disappeared completely. Yu Yang was preparing to return to the Yu clan castle when he suddenly thought of something. The enemies might make a move at any time. Shui Wuxia, City Mistress Fallen Flowers, Princess Sisai, and the others were not afraid. His sister Yubing was also accompanying her mother in the extremely safe Mirage. With Grandma Wu Tang's protection, there wouldn't be much of a problem. The only thing that he was worried about was his second sister, Yu Yu. Both her and her teacher weren't good at fighting. If the enemies found out that they were in Shangjing Academy, it would be troublesome. Yu Yang immediately changed his mind and headed towards Shangjing Academy, preparing to fetch Yu back. Just as he entered the main gate of Shangjing Academy, someone suddenly called out from behind, "Student, do you know how to get to secluded little villa?" This one sentence almost made Yu Yang's heart stop beating. However, when he turned around, he immediately revealed a bright smile. "Of course, I know the entire Shangjing Academy. You can call me Know-It-All." Secluded Little Villa was the place where Yu Yu's teacher lived. Normally, there weren't many people there. He didn't expect that someone would actually ask for directions today. Chapter 431. Yu Yang turned around and saw that the person asking for directions was a pretty female student. From the school badge she was wearing It could be seen that this female student came from Tianluo Kingdom's White Deer Academy. Although Tianluo Kingdom's Fragrance Academy was famous for its beauties, White Deer Academy was not bad either. The reason was that Tianluo Kingdom was rich in beauties, and the resources of beauties were very abundant. Of course, the female student in front of Yu Yang was not the kind of great beauty that would dazzle people with just one look. She was just a pretty daughter from a humble family. She was pretty and cute, but her smile had a kind of sweetness that great beauties did not have. In terms of appearance, she was not particularly outstanding. However, this delicate and pretty female student had a different kind of temperament, causing Yu Yang to be slightly taken aback. "Hello, know-it-all." Towards Yu Yang's enchanting smile, this pretty female student did not seem to feel anything. After she greeted him slightly, she frowned her soft eyebrows and said, "You look a little familiar, but I can't remember where I've seen you before." "Senior must have seen me at White Deer Academy. I had studied at White Deer Academy for half a year as an exchange student." Yu Yang could lie without blinking. "So you were an exchange student at White Deer Academy?" The pretty female student immediately became happy. "Maybe that's the case, but it's a pity that I graduated early. Otherwise, I would definitely know such an outstanding junior like you." "Junior know-it-all. It's like this. I just received a guide mission. There's an old man looking for an old friend. He and his two students wanted to visit Shangjing Academy, the Mirror Lake sage who lives in a secluded little hut." "Junior, do you know the way? Quickly bring us there. Master Ninghai has been looking for the Mirror Lake sage for tens of years." Master Ninghai? Yu Yang had never heard of any news about Master Ninghai. "Junior, you don't know? Master Ninghai was a level 8 emperor. Other than his strength, his knowledge was also extraordinary. It was just that he had a noble character and had always lived in seclusion in the mountains. Therefore, no one knew about him. He wanted to find his old friend, the Mirror Lake sage. Today, he brought 2 disciples with him, which shows his sincerity. When I accepted this mission at the entrance of the Mercenary Guild, I said that even if I don't accept a single gold, I will help the old man find his old friend." The pretty female student brought Yu Yang to a tree shade. There were 3 people standing under the tree. One of them was an old man with hair as white as snow and a ruddy complexion. His half-bald forehead revealed his wisdom. His deep eye sockets and high-nose bridge that resembled an eagle's, as well as his eyes that were as sharp as needles, concealed this person's maliciousness. Of course, everything was hidden under the benevolent smile on this person's face. Unless it was someone like Yu Yang, ordinary people would definitely think that the elder in front of them was a wise and benevolent master. 2 people stood behind this Master Ninghai, a man on the left and a woman on the right. The man was tall and skinny, wearing the same long robe as Master Ninghai. However, there was no royal insignia on his sleeves that indicated that he was a master. Based on a martial artist heavenly badge alone, the tall and skinny man was a level 6 elder. However, with his respectful attitude and his body that was always half-bowed as if he was listening, one could tell that Master Ninghai, who was standing in front of him, was a highly respected existence. The woman on the right was even prettier than the pretty female student. However, her expression was as cold as ice, as if she didn't care about anything in the world. When Yu Yang walked over, she didn't react to his smile at all. When Yu Yang saw her, his eyes lit up. He even whistled like an ordinary student who saw beauty. His attitude was very frivolous. Until this whistle appeared, Master Ninghai's vigilance towards Yu Yang gradually disappeared. Originally, he felt that there was something wrong with this brat, but after seeing Yu Yang's frivolous behavior, he immediately ignored this brat who whistled when he saw beauty. He was simply a rookie who had never seen the world. "Junior, this is Master Ninghai. This is Master Wenfeng, and this is Miss Kai. Right? My name is Lu Yi. Junior know-it-all. You can call me Sister Yi Zi from now on." The pretty female student called Lu Yi introduced Yu Yang to Master Ninghai and the others as if she was introducing her own brother. "This is the exchange student from Shangjing Academy to White Deer Academy. Know-it-all, my junior." "So it's your junior. No wonder he's so outstanding." Master Ning Hai praised like a kind elder. I don't dare. It's my honor to be able to lead the way from Master. Yu Yang quickly pretended to be extremely honored and nervous, and greeted the three with the etiquette of a student. He then enthusiastically pointed towards the direction of the secluded hut. It's just in front. It's a bit far. It's okay. I've walked over thousands of mountains and tens of thousands of rivers, not to mention a small distance. Master Ning Hai sighed as if he could not bear to recall the past. In the blink of an eye, tens of years have passed. Thinking back, when I first met Elder Jing Hu, we were just as young as you. Time drives people to grow old. Now we are all old. If we don't meet again, I'm afraid we will never have the chance to meet again. No, you've lived as long as the Nanshan pine and crane. How can you say goodbye to life and death so easily? Moreover, isn't Elder Jing Hu waiting for you in front? The pretty Lu Yi quickly comforted Master Ning Hai and gestured to Yu Yang to set off. Along the way, Yu Yang bragged about the various sights of Shangjing Academy. When Master Ning Hai heard this, he smiled but did not say anything, looking like a mysterious expert. The tall and skinny man called City Master Wenfeng nodded his head frequently. From time to time, he would say things like, "Is that so? Too beautiful, not bad," and so on. As for the cold Miss Kai Yi, she was completely unmoved. She was completely immune to Yu Yang's smile. If it wasn't for Sky Disaster's reaction, Yu Yang would have suspected that his enchantment was a useless skill. Miss Kai Yi completely ignored Yu Yang. Lu Yi, the senior who was always familiar with him, also turned a blind eye to his smile. However, perhaps it was because she saw Yu Yang smile more. She praised him. "Junior, your teeth are very white, and you look very energetic when you smile. You should smile more. Girls like boys who are brighter." When Yu Yang heard this, he almost fell to the ground head first. Forget about Miss Kai Yi. How could this senior Lu Yi be immune to his enchantment smile? Even someone as strong as Sky Disaster was affected. How could she ignore it? This was what Yu Yang couldn't understand the most. When they reached the secluded hut, they saw that Yu Yu's teacher Jing, whose courtyard was not far from them. Master Ning Hai was very excited. He made a gesture, and City Master Wenfeng immediately took out a few gold coins and gave it to Yu Yang as a reward for leading the way. Lu Yi secretly hinted to Yu Yang that he should not accept it. If he went to China, she would definitely be a loyal supporter of learning from Lei Feng and doing good deeds. However, Yu Yang looked a little embarrassed. He wanted to accept the money, but he was too embarrassed to do so. He rubbed his hands and peeked at Lu Yi and City Master Wenfeng from time to time. Master Ning Hai was very satisfied with his reaction. If a person didn't like money, it meant that there was something wrong with him. He took the gold coins and stuffed them into Yu Yang's palm. "Little student, remember, there's a reward for every job. This is what you deserve. To you, this is a mission to lead the way, but to me, this is an exciting meeting. I have waited for more than 10 years. After saying that, the corners of his eyes flashed with a bit of moist tears. Compared to him, an Oscar-winning actor was not even worthy to carry his shoes. Yu Yang was almost moved by him. He quickly kept the money and thanked him profusely. Speaking of acting, although he was not an Oscar-winning actor, he was not bad either. Speaking of acting, other than Lu Yi, who was a Lei Feng, Yu Yang felt that City Master Wenfeng was at least an Oscar-winning actor. After the mission to lead the way was completed, Yu Yang was prepared to slip away. However, Lu Yi thought that Yu Yang had accepted the money, so he should fulfill his responsibility. Although Master Ning Hai said that he had to knock on the door himself to show his sincerity, Lu Yi did not let Yu Yang leave. Instead, she asked him to stay and accompany Master Ning Hai to greet Jing Hu Sage. All right. Yu Yang felt that there was no difference between staying and leaving. The only difference was whether he would kill his way out of the house from the front or ambush them from the back. "May I ask Jing Hu? Is Jing Hu Sage here?" Master Ning Hai called out with a trembling voice. Yu Yang sighed in admiration. His acting skills were at the peak of perfection. City Master Wenfeng suddenly straightened his back like a cheetah that was ready to pounce. Miss Kai Yi, who was as cold as ice and expressionless, directly cast her gaze towards the small building in the courtyard. Senior sister Lu Yi had no idea what was going on with these actions. She just looked at Master Ning Hai's tearful and sorrowful expression excitedly. She was immersed in the atmosphere of him reuniting with an old friend. She almost cried with him. Yu Yang coughed slightly. Call from here, it's a little far. We have to go in and knock on the door directly. He generously opened the bamboo door of the courtyard and jogged up. He slipped past the flower beds on both sides and went up the stairs. He lightly knocked on the 2 wooden doors. Jinghu Master, I student know-it-all, would like to see you. Lu Yi was really afraid that this brat would immediately say Master Ning Hai's name and cause everyone to lose their sense of mystery. This would also affect the meeting between the 2 elders. Seeing that this brat was somewhat tactful and only used his own identity to ask for an audience, she hurriedly led the excited Master Ning Hai forward. Yu Yu opened the door and looked at Yu Yang with a surprised expression. Yu Yang put his index finger on his lips and made a shushing gesture. He then pointed at the 4 people behind him, indicating to Yu not to say anything and to keep things mysterious. Lu Yi and Master Ning Hai, who were behind him, smiled when they saw Yu Yang's action. They felt that this brat was really tactful. Yu Yang moved closer to Yu Yu's ear and whispered something. Yu Yu's cherry lips turned into an O shape. After a long time, Yu Yu finally recovered. She immediately gestured to Master Ning Hai, indicating that her teacher was inside. Teacher has just rested. Do you want to wait for a while, or should I wake her up? Yu Yu asked tentatively. Wake her up? No, let her rest first. Are you Jinghu's disciple? Very good. Good child, what is your name? Master Ning Hai carefully looked at Yu Yu's appearance and finally nodded, as if he had confirmed something. The tall and skinny man, City Master Wenfeng, slowly walked to Yu Yu's side. The cold and expressionless Miss Kai also walked to Yu Yu's back, vaguely forming an encirclement. I am Yu Yu, teacher's only disciple. You must be Master Ning Hai. I have only followed teacher for a short time and have never heard of you before. Yu Yu looked at Yu Yang and nodded in response. Really? Could it be that she has forgotten her old friend? Master Ning Hai showed a sad expression again. Yu Yang almost clapped his hands. This was acting. We might disturb Jinghu's rest here. Why don't we go outside and talk? You can tell Master about Jinghu's past. You must know that Master has always been thinking about his old friend. The tall and skinny City Master Wenfeng suddenly suggested. Yu Yang really admired this excuse. It's not good to disturb teacher's rest. Let's go outside and discuss how to give her a surprise. Yu Yang naturally agreed. In that case, Yu Yu seemed to be a little hesitant. She looked around the house and finally followed Yu Yang out. Yu Yang praised in his heart. Second sister's acting was also not bad. Her quick reflexes were really amazing. It seemed that all girls were natural actors. If it was Fatty Hai or Yi Kong, they would have already ruined this good show. Chapter 432. Walking out of the courtyard, the tall and skinny City Master Wenfeng did not stop walking. He only stopped when he reached the entrance of a secluded hut. Lu Yi thought that this was too exaggerated. At this distance, forget about waking up Elder Jinghu. Even if a group of tigers were to fight, Elder Jinghu would not be able to hear it. Of course, maybe he wanted to maintain this sense of mystery. That's why City Master Wenfeng was so solemn. Lu Yi did not think too much about it. Master Ning Hai, on the other hand, asked Yu Yu about Teacher Jinghu along the way. His expression was sometimes happy, sometimes sad. His expression kept changing, making Yu Yang secretly exclaim that it was very interesting. As for Miss Kai, who was as cold as ice, she had been quietly following behind, faintly giving off a feeling of being escorted. City Master Wenfeng realized that there was no one around and sighed in his heart. He clapped his hands and revealed a strange smile. All right, we are here. Lu Yi was very happy and was the first to speak. I think we should first prepare a gift. Yu Yu quietly led Master Ning Hai in and sat in front of Elder Jinghu's bed. This way, when Elder Jinghu opened his eyes, he would be able to see Master Ning Hai immediately. You can imagine how excited she will be. We will rush in at the right time and use the gifts we prepare to celebrate their reunion. Yu Yang also clapped. Good idea, good idea. Yu Yu nodded. indicating that this was a good idea. Who knew that the tall and skinny city master when Feng's expression changed and sneered? We don't need to prepare any gifts, as long as you guys go on your way obediently. Kai Yi, kill these two idiots who do not know that they are about to die. Ning Hai, grab Yu, and we will leave this place immediately. As he spoke, he took out a golden scroll. When he opened it, a golden light shone and formed a huge light barrier. It was more than 10 meters wide and covered everyone inside, isolating them from the outside world. This is the isolation barrier. When the 19th king of Tianluo was attacked, the isolation barrier used by the assassin. Lu Yi was shocked. She never thought that the situation would turn out like this. She couldn't react to City Master Wen Feng's words. Bad guy. Yu Yang jumped out and pointed at City Master Wen Feng, shouting, I know, you're a bad guy. Yu Yu rolled her eyes at this rookie's acting skills. You're still playing at this point? He really couldn't do anything to this kid. After Lu Yi heard Yu Yang shout, her whole body shook. She immediately reacted and glanced at City Master Wen Feng and Master Ning Hai's expressions. She realized that they were staring at Yu Yu. She immediately understood that their target was not Jing Hu Sage, but Jing Hu Sage's disciple, Yu Yu. In an instant, she remembered Yu Yu's identity. Yu Yu was the Yu clan's second miss, and the Yu clan was the Xia kingdom's most capable right-hand man. Capturing the Yu clan's second miss was undoubtedly the best hostage, especially now that the Black Hell King had declared war on the Xia kingdom, and Zijin kingdom had a close relationship with the Black Hell King. So it was like this. When Lu Yi regained her senses, she realized that she had done an extremely stupid thing. The enemy had used her kind heart and cunningly set up a trap. They deceived her despicably and used her shamelessly. What a hopeless idiot. City Master Wen Feng waved his hand. The cold Miss Kai immediately walked towards Yu Yang. It seemed like she wanted to send Yu Yang to hell. You're not City Master Wen Feng. A level 6 elder doesn't have this kind of power. Lu Yi also realized that Master Ning Hai no longer looked like a master. Now, Ning Hai seemed to have become City Master Wen Feng's slave. She was even more shocked. Master Ning Hai, who was a level 8 emperor, was merely a slave in front of City Master Wen Feng. What kind of power did this guy have? Wen Feng is just a substitute that I have created. Stupid humans, your eyes will deceive you. Never believe what you see with your eyes. The tall and skinny City Master Wen Feng gradually transformed. Within a few seconds, he turned into an ugly monster with 6 arms and horns on his head. The most disgusting thing was that on this monster's face, other than a few different-sized eyeballs, there were also a few mouths. The mouths kept opening and closing, making people feel disgusted. Yu Yu frowned. She instinctively stood behind Yu Yang. Originally, this action would attract the enemy's attention, but the enemy was feeling proud of himself. Moreover, Master Ning Hai felt that it was an instinct for a woman to hide behind a man when she was in danger. He never thought that Yu Yu would hide behind Yu Yang. That was because Yu Yang was her most trusted brother. She would do this subconsciously. In terms of power, the monster who impersonated City Master Wen Feng was indeed much stronger than Master Ning Hai. This was because he was a level 1 in 8. From the badge on his chest, it could be seen that he was a member of the Black Hell Army. Moreover, he was a monster in 8 who came from a different continent. It was unknown whether he was brought to the Soaring Dragon continent by a warrior from Zijin Kingdom or from the Ancient Passage. As for Master Ning Hai, although he was also a human, Yu Yang was sure that he was not a warrior from the Soaring Dragon continent. This was because he was a level 8 emperor that even Yu Yang did not know. Would there be such a hidden warrior in the Soaring Dragon continent? It was fine if he did not know Yu Yang. Yu Yang had bragged about Shangjing Academy's history along the way, but it was full of mistakes. As a Grandmaster level ranker, how could he not know such common sense? Especially the rumor about the Mirror Lake Sage. This Master Ning Hai was at a loss. Without Yu Yang pointing out his name, he did not know that Yu Yang was talking about the Mirror Lake Sage. Yu Yang probed along the way and found out that Master Ning Hai was not a warrior from the Soaring Dragon continent, but someone from another clan. He was completely relaxed, because the enemy did not know much about them. They only knew the surface. If they wanted to use this superficial knowledge to infiltrate the Xia kingdom, it would be very difficult. Actually, when they looked for a girl like Lu Yi, they already knew that other than a warm-hearted and inexperienced female student, who else could they lie to? Yu secretly drew a secret signal behind Yu Yang's back. Yu Yang nodded and prepared to take action. Just as Yu Yang and Yu Yu were about to take action, Lu Yi suddenly rushed out and blocked in front of Miss Kai Yi. Let's not talk about using me. If you want to capture Yu Yu, you have to do it over my dead body. Hearing this, Yu Yang couldn't help but pat her shoulder. Hey, can you really do it? I have to do it even if I can't. Hurry up and leave. Use the teleportation scroll. Lu Yi's expression was abnormally firm. She summoned her silver-ranked grimoire and raised her shield. You're asking for humiliation. Although the monster who impersonated City Master Wenfeng was a little surprised that Lu Yi had a grimoire, his expression was still disdainful. For an innate, even if he had a grimoire shield, how long could he last? Not to mention, there was still Miss Kai Yi who was equally strong. As for Ning Hai, he was not even the main fighting force. Yang took out his gold coins and said with a sad face, I'm just passing by. Can I return the gold coins to you now? I can pretend that nothing happened. Master Ning Hai revealed an especially kind smile. A sinister light flashed across his eyes. His killing intent was half revealed. He said with a smile that hit a dagger, It's too late. Although you and Lu Yi are both good young people, and I like you a lot. However, those who know our secret must keep it forever. You also know that other than the dead, no one can keep a secret forever. Commit suicide immediately. Believe me, this is the best choice you can make in your life. Otherwise, you will definitely regret not committing suicide immediately. If you fall into our hands, I guarantee that you will suffer a fate worse than death. 2 students in your next life, don't be so foolish and naive like now. Let me tell you a truth. In this world, not everyone can be trusted. Hearing this, Lu Yi bit her lips tightly. Dark red blood flowed out from her bitten lips. She clenched her fists in pain. She blamed herself for her mistake. However, the current situation did not allow her to continue immersing herself in the pain and guilt. What she needed now was to fight. The stubborn Lu Yi decided to use the last of her strength to redeem her mistake. Even if I die, I will protect you. Please forgive me. I mistakenly trusted the enemy. Lu Yi apologized sincerely to Yu Yu. Yu Yu waved her hand to show that it was nothing. On the other hand, Yu Yang snorted, as if he was unwilling to forgive her. Lu Yi's expression darkened, but she gritted her teeth and summoned a silver deer. She lowered her voice and secretly whispered to Yu Yu, Quickly ride on my silver deer. It can bring you out of here. What about me? Yu Yang's ears were sharp, and he heard it. You and I will stay behind and block the enemy. Lu Yi firmly made this important life decision for Yu Yang. Why? I don't want to stay and die. Summon another silver deer and let me ride it to escape. I'm very scared. Yu Yang pretended to be afraid of death. I'm sorry. I only have 1 silver deer. Lu Yi gently patted Yu Yang's shoulder and softly comforted him. Junior, you have to be brave. You are a man. Do men have to die for nothing? Yu Yang squatted in the corner and drew circles. His action made Lu Yi feel even more guilty. She wanted to persuade him, but she didn't know how to say it. Everything was her fault. Originally, this know-it-all junior was living quite well. If she hadn't called him, he wouldn't have lost his life. If she had known earlier, she definitely wouldn't have asked him for directions. But it was too late for regrets now. Lu Yi gently wiped the tears from the corner of her eyes and softly said, I'm sorry. I will die in front of you. This is the only thing I can do now. Stop dreaming. No matter what you do, you won't be able to escape from here. Master Ning Hai raised his hand, and countless thorns grew wildly from the ground. The thorns seemed to have a life of their own as they danced. In the sky, even the flying butterflies were immediately caught. Without innate strength, it was impossible to escape from this thorny trap. Ning Hai even felt that it was too exaggerated for the higher-ups to send 3 people to capture Yu Yu. With the opponent's strength, he alone was enough. The surroundings have been thoroughly searched. No one has appeared. Everything is safe. Let's do it. While he was talking, he quietly released a few poisonous insects. When the poisonous insects flew back to their bodies, the innate level monster finally confirmed that this place was safe. Elder Jing, who didn't sense any danger, and there were no students around. It was the best time to capture someone. Roar. That Miss Kai followed the gesture of a monster who impersonated City Master when Feng and pounced forward expressionlessly. She raised her fists and attacked Lu Ye's protective shield like a storm. The protective shield completely shook off the power of her fists, but she didn't seem to feel any pain and continued to attack fiercely. The rebounding power caused her hands to explode. Her flesh and blood splattered everywhere. The skin on her hands was torn and her bones were exposed, but she still kept on punching. Her speed didn't decrease, but increased instead. Her strength also increased with each punch. Wah wah. Lu Yi was shocked. She had never seen such a crazy way of fighting in her life. Let alone a woman. Even a man wouldn't be able to do it. This wasn't an attack. It was simply self-mutilation. As the power and speed of the punches increased, the light of the protective shield quickly dimmed. It wouldn't be long before it was broken. Now, Miss Kai's fists had no flesh at all. A pair of intricate mechanical arms could be clearly seen. Lu Yi and Yu Yu exclaimed, because they just realized that this crazy Kai was actually a robot with a female appearance and not a real human. Yi Yang curled his lips. Even if he didn't use his Heaven Eye's divine vision, Yu Yang knew that Kai wasn't a human girl. Other than Lu Yi, who had a strange innate skill, Yu Yang didn't think that there was another woman in this world who could be completely immune to his skill. That was a skill that even Sky Disaster was affected by. Moreover, Lu Yi wasn't immune like Kai Yi. She was only slightly affected. Just now, she had praised Yu Yang because of his smile. This proved that she was actually affected, just that the power wasn't strong. The reason why Yu Yang kept on competing with his opponent was because he wanted to understand his opponent. Secondly, he wanted to understand Kai Yi's manufacturing principle. Maybe the manufacturing of this Kai Yi doll would help him complete Yu Gong's third wish. It's over. The moment the protective shield disappeared, Lu Yi quickly pushed Yu Yu onto the silver deer's back. At the same time, she screamed and threw herself onto Yu Yang, blocking him without a care for her own safety. I'm sorry, I hurt you. In the next life, I will definitely pay you back. At the last moment, she still wanted to make up for her mistake. Although, she also knew that this kind of compensation and protection were all futile. The protective shield disappeared, and the silver deer shot out like a meteor. In the midst of countless thorny traps, it smoothly rushed out. Even the protective shield couldn't stop its footsteps. However, Yu Yu wasn't on its back. She was still by Lu Ye's side. The robot puppet Kai Yi's metal fists blasted towards her irrationally. Lu Yi sensed it and turned her head. Just in time to see this scene, she couldn't help but cry out, "Oh no!" She didn't realize that the little junior who was originally under her had already disappeared. Chapter 433. Crescent Moon slashed across the sky. It was very ingenious, very reasonable, as if it was a puppet master dismantling a still mechanical puppet. The arm that was connected to Kai Yi was easily dismantled by the crescent moon. Other than a small number of connecting pipes that represented the tendons, Yu Yang did not even damage a screw. His technique had reached the perfect state of art. Half of the puppet's arm was thrown into the air and fell into Yu Yang's storage ring. The humanoid robot that did not feel any pain continued to punch. However, Yu Yang, who had already seen through its weakness, did exactly what he wanted. The crescent moon blade in his hands moved left and right. Within a few seconds, he had already cut open the humanoid robot Kai Yi's clothes, fake skin and fake flesh. He had even removed the cervical vertebra that was connected to the head. In the process, he even knocked away the monster innates and Ning Hai. Yu Yang calmly and patiently dismantled this exquisite puppet that could only be made by a 6,000-year-old master. To him, this puppet was the best research subject because it was far beyond the current puppet manufacturing methods. Even for him, who had received the Ghost Genius Yu Gong's Puppet Encyclopedia and Puppet Palace, it was still a great inspiration. Puppet Kai Yi's eyes flashed with red light. It was trying to control its heart to self-destruct. In its heart, there were a few dragon crystals that acted as the driving force, connected to a mysterious rune circle. Once it was triggered, it would explode. The power of the explosion was no less than the blood sacrifice of an innate rancor. Unfortunately, Yang had already seen through this and promptly separated its body from its head. In the end, he even used his inability to freeze Kai Yi's head. After the monster innate was sent flying for the second time, Yang put the puppet's head into a storage ring and heaved a sigh of relief. If he had attacked from the start and defeated Ning Hai and that monster innate rancor immediately, then the humanoid robot Kai Yi would definitely self-destruct. At that time, not only would Yu be in danger, Yu Yang wouldn't be able to gain anything either. Now, after Kai Yi attacked, Yu Yang took advantage of the time difference. Because Kai Yi, who was attacking, would certainly not be able to self-destruct at the first moment, taking her down first would be the safest. Moreover, Yu Yang reckoned that the Black Hell King setting was for the battle doll Kai Yi to self-destruct only when all her companions were heavily injured or dead. He was right. He successfully obtained the battle doll as his spoils of war. Yu Yang was not satisfied with obtaining this super battle doll that had been created 6,000 years ago for no reason. Now, the second question he wanted to know was, how did the Black Hell King preserve this 6,000-year-old battle doll? Would there be a second or third battle doll like this? Kai Yi, the fighting puppet, certainly could not answer these questions. The only people Yu Yang could ask were Ning Hai and the monster innate who could speak human language. Who are you? The monster innate who impersonated City Master Wen Feng was shocked. How could a student withstand 2 of his innate attacks? What's more, he had sent him flying with such a simple movement. How could there be a student who was stronger than him in this world? Looking at the way he dismantled Kai Yi, it was simply too much for one's eyes to take in. Even the Black Hell King, who was the controller, might not be able to reach this level of understanding towards his own battle doll. Master Ning Hai felt bitter in his mouth. He could guess the identity of the student in front of him now. He was probably the person that the warriors of Zijin Kingdom did not want to meet the most. Yu Clan's third young master. Yu Clan's third young master's name. Even a warrior of Qilin continent like him had heard of him before. Previously, the warriors of Zijin Kingdom had warned the warriors of the Black Hell Army time and time again to pay special attention to this young man. Anyone who looked down on him would be at a disadvantage. At that time, Yu Yang even thought that they were exaggerating. A 20-year-old innate was not bad, but he could not rule out the possibility that Ji Zun purposely increased his strength to provoke the younger generation of the soaring dragon continent. In Tong Tian Tower, there were a few supreme innates who would do this to their loyal subordinates. Through some secret techniques, they could forcefully increase 1 or 2 subordinates' strength to the innate realm. However, this kind of people who increase their strength quickly would not have a future, because forcefully increasing their strength would exhaust their greatest potential. Those secret techniques were used to exchange their future potential for realms. Warriors who truly had the ability to increase their strength would definitely not be so eager for quick success and instant benefits. His current partner, Miao Su, who also came from the Qilin continent, was one of the test subjects of the Black Hell King's forceful increase in strength. In the Black Hell Army's experiment of creating a large number of low-level innates, this guy, who was originally weaker than him, used a secret technique to surpass him and became an innate level 1. However, he would never be able to move forward in his future. Increasing his strength to the innate realm was undoubtedly an extremely strong temptation. However, the death rate and elimination rate of that secret technique was so terrifying that it made people vomit blood. The success rate was 1%. Almost all of Ning Hai's good friends died. Among the dozens of people he knew, only Miao Su succeeded. However, who could tell that Miao Su, this lucky guy, was actually a real human? Because even if the secret technique to increase his strength to the innate realm was successful, Miao Su would turn from a human into an extremely ugly monster. Ning Hai, who had the hope of increasing his strength to the innate realm, rejected the secret technique and would rather be under Miao Su temporarily. Ninghai was not as enthusiastic as Miao Su about invading the soaring dragon continent. Although the Black Hell army was strong, it didn't mean that the rankers of the soaring dragon continent would resign themselves to death. Even if the Black Hell army won in the end, cannon fodder-level existences like him might not be able to survive and enjoy the fruits of victory. The reason why Ning Hai accepted the mission to kidnap Yu Yu was because he saw that the difficulty of this mission was not high. The only thing he had to pay attention to was the warning of the Marquis of Zijin. At that time, Marquis of Zijin said, "You must use a strategy. The best and most ingenious strategy is the key to success. Pay attention to avoid the dangerous factor of Yu Clan third young master, otherwise you will all die. If you meet him, you will definitely not have the possibility of survival." At that time, Miao Su and the rest of the Black Hell army were very disdainful of this advice. Now, it seems that Marquis of Zijin was right. Ning Hai completely gave up resisting just by looking at the opponent's attack. He knew with one look that even Tin Miao Su would not be able to win against this kind of enemy. How is this possible? Liu Yi saw how Yu Yang tore apart Kai Yi in a flash, and even sent the innate level monster flying for the third time. She was dumbfounded and could not come back to her senses for a while. It turned out that Yu Yu, who she had always been protecting, stood in front of her and even comforted her softly. "Don't be afraid. He is actually my brother. He was looking for the enemy's weakness just now. Now is the time for him to counterattack." "Why is your brother called Know-It-All?" "No, you're Yu Clan's second miss. Your surname is Yu, his surname is Wan." Liu Ye's strength was that she trusted people too easily. It seemed that she was rarely cheated in life. If she lived with Yu Yang for a while, it would probably be much better. "He is actually my third brother." Yu Yu felt that she was already very gullible, but she never thought that there would be someone who was even more gullible than her. "So, it's Yu Clan's third young master. No wonder I felt that he looked familiar. I was too honest." This time, it was Liu Ye's turn to squat down and draw circles on the ground dejectedly. It was fine if the bad guy lied to her, but even the good guy lied to her. Was there still justice in this world? Yu Yu really wanted to tell her that her own third young master was actually the biggest bad guy. He cheated people to death without paying with his life. But then she felt that she still had to protect her own brother, so she did not say it. Anyway, her own third young master had cheated many people. Liu Yu wouldn't make a difference. Boom. The monster Miao Su, who was originally very arrogant, had his arm chopped off by Yu Yang. He fell to the ground with a punch, and before he could bounce up, Yu Yang had already stepped on his head. Long live the Black Hell King. The monster Miao Su, who was loyal to the Black Hell King, wanted to self-destruct on the spot. So noisy, Yu Yang used his innate chi to shake his head. This arrogant guy immediately screamed and fainted. If Yu Yang wanted to kill him, Miao Su would have died, even if he had 100 lives. But Yu Yang had to keep him. Other than slowly interrogating him to get information, he was still a good fertilizer. If the Golden Crown Thorny Flower Queen did not care about this low-level innate rancor, then it would be the same for Hui Tai Lang. It was definitely not a picky eater. Moreover, Fatty Hai, Yi Kong, and the others lacked a good sparring partner. A monster like this would be a good choice. After knocking Miao Su out, Ning Hai immediately knelt down. Surrender. He did the smartest thing he had ever done in his life. Towards the stupid Miao Su, Ning Hai felt that he should never be so stupid, or else he would be better off dead than alive. He could tell that if this Yu Clan's third young master wanted to kill him, he would have done it long ago. He only wanted to squeeze out the remaining value. I surrender. I have a secret to exchange. As long as you don't kill me, I can use the secret to redeem my life. Ning Hai acted like a hoodlum. Since he was going to surrender, he might as well be straightforward. Yu Yang laughed. Actually, I don't really like smart people, but I won't reject working with smart people because it's better than working with idiots. Ning Hai's face turned red. He knew that Yu Yang was mocking him for using his intelligence in the wrong place, but he was not as skilled as Yu Yang and wanted to preserve his life, so he could only do this. He took out the poisoned pearl hidden in his fake teeth and gave up on committing suicide for the Black Hell King. He then told Yu Yang the most valuable secret in his heart. I know a place that uses a secret method to create low-level innates. As long as you agree to let me go, I can personally bring you there. Yu Yang did not really care about this kind of secret method to create fake innates, but it was always a good thing to be able to attack the enemy's weak points. Then what are we waiting for? Let's go. Yu Yang took out a golden scroll. Ninghai almost fainted. This was the fixed-point return scroll that he kept in his bosom. He did not even know when he had stolen it. This was really a terrifying enemy. No wonder even the Marquis of Zijin was afraid of him. If you dismantle the robot Kai, the enemy might be alerted. Yu hurriedly advised Yu Yang to be careful. It's okay, we will still act according to their original plan and beat them at their own game. However, I will have to trouble second sister and this Lu Yi to cooperate a little. Yu Yang laughed, causing Yu Yu's face to turn red. She gave him a punch. Xiao-san, don't be so cheeky, be more serious. Yu Yang was speechless. He did not expect that the bewitching skill did not affect Lu Yi at all, but second sister was greatly affected instead. I have to go too. Lu Yi realized that her tragedy was not over yet. I will have to trouble you to be a female captive for the time being. Yu Yang took out a rope made from wyvern skin, rhinoceros tendon, and black gold silk snake demon's hair. Using a binding technique that he learned from a certain island country's romance action movie, he tied Lu Yi up without any explanation. If he used a whip, it would be the legendary SM. Chapter 434. A World of Ice and Snow. The gale swept across the ground along with the snow, creating waves of white frost. Between heaven and earth, there was a continuous roar that made one's heart tremble. This was the Windroot mountain range at the edge of Zijin Kingdom. The meaning of Windroot was that the entire soaring dragon continent's cold wind came from this place. Although it was a little exaggerated, it was a fact that the ice and snow never melted here all year round. Windroot mountain range was one of the soaring dragon continent's 5 great death grounds. Like Gue Jianshou and Despair Abyss, it was a forbidden ground that was rarely visited by humans. Because its terrain was remote and extremely cold, unless it was a warrior who trained hard, no one would come to this place. The Windroot mountain range and the scorching desert were equally famous. One was cold, while the other was hot. Both were polar regions that very few people set foot in. No one would have thought that the Black Hell King and Zijin Kingdom's secret base was set up in this life-restricted zone. Just by looking at the entrance of the base, Yu Yang had a feeling that Zijin Kingdom and the Black Hell King had been working together for a long time. This kind of huge base was definitely not something that could be built overnight. With the support of the Black Hell King, the Thousand Goblins sect, the Western Lion Pagoda, and the Green Summit sect, as well as their entanglement with the Demon Abyss, it was no wonder that Zijin Kingdom dared to swallow the entire soaring dragon continent. Now, Yu Yang understood a little. Shun Tian and the Black Prince supporting Zijin Kingdom and attacking the Yu clan was just a small test. If it wasn't because of his sudden appearance and messing up the situation, the soaring dragon continent would have already been engulfed in the flames of war. Ever since the Black Hell King came out of the seal, he probably wanted to inherit the prison emperor's legacy and explore the god's ruins. However, he had yet to recover his strength. The human race had an extremely strong Jizun, and the demonic palace's intentions were unclear. This made the Black Hell King unable to succeed. Hence, he had secretly cooperated with the Zijin Kingdom. A long time ago, he had already started to use a secret technique to mass-produce low-ranked innates. If it wasn't for the fact that the Black Hell King's secret technique wasn't powerful enough and the success rate of mass-producing innates was extremely low, only 1%, the entire soaring dragon continent would have been overcrowded with innates. Mass-produce innate rankers? When Yang thought of this, he was secretly amused. If innate rankers could be mass-produced, then what was the point of cultivating? They were all cozying up to super innates and asking them to help them use their secret arts to improve. This kind of pseudo-innates didn't even have a grimoire. They couldn't even be compared to the great emperor of Ji Wei, Shun Tion's 7 great bears. They were at least pseudo-innates, and they even had a grimoire in their hands. Pseudo-innates were nothing in front of true innates. Of course, to ordinary martial artists, this kind of pseudo-inborn was still terrifying. After all, a pseudo-innate was forcefully pulled up by a level 6 elder and above martial artist. Not just any ordinary person could succeed. Cold. Yu laid on Yu Yang's back. Yu Yang wrapped a large leather coat around her, but she still couldn't stand the cold. She hugged Yu Yang tightly, her fragrant body trembling nonstop. Lu Yi clenched her teeth and did not speak. She was afraid that if she were to speak, her teeth would chatter nonstop. Actually, she and Yu Yu were still quite comfortable because Yu Yang would occasionally transfer some Yang ability to them to warm their bodies. Otherwise, with their physique, it would be strange if they didn't get sick from the cold after teleporting from Shangjing with only these few clothes. Ning Hai, the person who surrendered, was very obedient. Even when he saw the guards at the entrance of the base, he was as obedient as a grandson, because he knew that if Yu Clan's third young master wanted to kill him, unless the Black Hell King personally protected him, he would definitely die. He saw Yu Yang cut open Miao Su's stomach, took out the energy crystals that had accumulated in his body after he turned into a monster, and sewed them up to study his methods. He decided that he would never be enemies with this smiling demon. Compared to this, Yu Clan's third young master, the Demon King of the Abyss, was simply a good person. Ning Hai thought that he had killed a lot of people and could be considered an evil person. He did not expect that he was nothing in front of Yu Clan's third young master. Master Miao Su, Master Ning Hai, you're back? These two? Why didn't Miss Kai return? This is Yu Clan's second miss. Who is the other one? The captain of the base's guards welcomed them. He did not recognize that Yu Yang, who had a mustache on his lips, was not Miao Su. This was because Miao Su could transform and change his identity. He mainly relied on the Black Hell badge to identify him. This captain was obviously a warrior from Zijin Kingdom. He recognized Yu Yu, the hostage, but he did not recognize Lu Yi, who was tied up like a pawn by Yu Yang. Kai Brat had already self-destructed. Yu Clan's second Miss teacher, Elder Jing Hu, was very powerful. We fought a fierce battle and finally completed our mission. This is Yu Clan's female classmate. Coincidentally, we caught her and brought her back. Ning Hai handed over his badge to verify his identity and explained casually. Such a small character, we can just kill him casually. The captain felt that there were some unexpected problems. If Lu Yi was not tied up and held between Yu Yang's ribs, she would have given him a flying kick and sent him flying. Miao Su thinks that this girl is still a virgin, so he caught her and played with her. When he's done playing with her, he might even give her to you to pass the time. Ning Hai purposely lowered his voice and said to the captain, "All right, if Miao Su wants to eat the meat, us brothers will get some soup to drink, ha." The captain eagerly thanked Yu Yang. Oh, Yu Yang made a nasal sound. He pretended to be an expert and walked in casually. He did not dare to speak, afraid that the other party would recognize him. This action, however, gave people the illusion that he was putting on airs. Moreover, he looked like he was in a hurry to open the female captive's bud. A few guards laughed lewdly. In the end, it was the captain who was more attentive. He caught up and bowed respectfully. "Sir, you can play with this girl to your heart's content, but that Yu Clan's second miss, it's best that you don't touch her first. Because before Lord War Tiger left, he specially instructed me to tell you that this Yu Clan's second miss is the key and should not be touched." Yu Yu, who was lying on Yu Yang's back and pretending to be unconscious, trembled when she heard this. She was embarrassed and angry. She really wanted to beat this guy into a pig's head, but now that she was in her brother's trap, she could only endure her embarrassment and continue to pretend to be unconscious. Yu Yang first patted Yu Yu's back lightly, indicating that she should not panic and that everything was under his control. On the surface, he pretended to be unhappy and walked forward. Ning Hai turned his face and comforted the frightened captain with a smile. "Miao Su definitely knows there's no need for you to tell him. It's okay. Yu Clan's second miss will definitely be successfully delivered to Lord War Tiger." walking down the winding passageway. In front of them were countless stone steps and forks. Luckily, there was Ning Hai leading the way. Otherwise, it would be hard to sneak in. Ning Hai led the way and temporarily went to the resting area, waiting for the people in the center of the base to send elite soldiers to escort Yu away. Only then would Yu Yang be able to kill his way into the secret base that was usually not easily opened. It was not impossible to barge in, but all the secrets would be destroyed by the people inside. Yu Yang really wanted to know what other secrets were stored inside. How many humanoid puppets like Kai Yi were there? This was what Yu Yang wanted to know the most. Ning Hai brought Yu Yang to Miao Su's room and used the Black Hell badge to open the door. Once it was opened, the smell of blood rushed out. After Yu Yang, Yu Yu, and Lu Yi went to take a look, they were surprised to find that this was really a bloody and violent den of prostitution. Not only human women, but also females of various races, even some female animals, were raped and killed by Miao Su here. In the end, they were all dismembered corpses, human heads that died with grievances rolled everywhere. No wonder the captain dared to advise Yu Yang, who impersonated Miao Su, not to touch Yu Yu, because he knew that once he did, Yu Clan's second miss, this important hostage, would not be able to keep her life. Yu Yu and Lu Yi originally thought that Yu Yang's method of soaking Miao Su was a bit cruel, but now they felt that it was too easy for that trash. Especially Lu Yi, who wrongly blamed Yu Yang, was full of regret and wanted to apologize to Yu Yang. She felt that killing Miao Su was too easy for him. This kind of trash should be sliced off piece by piece. Not to mention these kind girls. Even Ning Hai, who killed without blinking, swallowed a mouthful of saliva in shock. He heard that after Miao Su became a monster, his temperament changed greatly. He was polite in front of others, but behind his back, he was bloodthirsty. He raped and killed countless women. These were all known. But Ning Hai never thought that after Miao Su became a monster, he actually raped and killed so many people. No, there were also many female animals. Crazy. Miao Su was definitely crazy. Ning Hai shivered. Luckily, he did not participate in the secret skill upgrade. Or else, even if he successfully upgraded to an 8, he would become a lunatic like Miao Su. Ning Hai wiped the cold sweat off his forehead and reported to Yu Yang. I reckon the elite armored soldiers will arrive within 5 minutes because they will not let Miao Su harm Yu Clan's second miss. They will use the fastest speed to rush over. If we want to receive Miao Su's things, we must be fast. Yu Yang waved his hand. Go back to your room and pack up. I will be fine here. I will come over in 5 minutes. Ning Hai was a little hesitant, but in the end, he still left quickly. At this time, he had 2 choices in his mind. One was to immediately use a teleportation scroll to leave this place, never to come back to the soaring dragon continent, never to see Yu Clan's 3rd young master again. The other was to continue to listen to Yu Clan's 3rd young master's orders, wait for him to destroy the entire base, then fulfill his promise and let him go. The first option was easy to succeed. As long as he crushed the teleportation stone, he could escape back to the ancient passage. Even if Yu Clan's 3rd young master chased after him, he might not be able to find him. The downside was that he could never let Yu Clan's 3rd young master know where he was hiding, or else he would definitely die. The latter option was dangerous. It was hard to say if Yu Clan's 3rd young master would fulfill his promise. The most important thing was that the base was destroyed. Even if he escaped, if Black Hell King found out, he would also die. Ning Hai returned to his room with a heavy heart and hesitated for more than 3 minutes. He took out the teleportation stone, put it back into his bosom, took it out again, put it back into his bosom, repeated this action many times. In the end, he decided to obediently wait for Yu Clan's 3rd young master to fulfill his promise, because he felt that it was not safe for him to escape using the teleportation stone. Moreover, if Black Hell King found out that he escaped in the middle of battle, he would definitely die. After all, he was the one who brought Yu Clan's 3rd young master into the base. Black Hell King knew better than Yu Clan's 3rd young master where he was hiding, so he must pray for Yu Clan's 3rd young master to win this battle. If he lost, his old life would be in danger. 5 minutes later, Ning Hai knocked on the door. Yu Yang personally opened the door, smiled, and said casually, "I knew you wouldn't use the teleportation stone to escape." This sentence made Ning Hai's scalp go numb. Yu Yang actually knew everything he was thinking. The most terrifying thing was that this was just a test. No wonder Yu Clan's third young master took the teleportation scroll from his bosom and left the teleportation stone. So this was his hidden card. If he had tried to escape just now, he would have followed in Miao Su's footsteps. Ning Hai was so scared that he almost peed his pants. After another minute, 5 elite soldiers dressed in golden armor with only a few of their faces exposed came forward to take Yu Yang away. They spoke politely, but they held the token of the person in charge of the base, War Tiger. Although Yu Yang looked unwilling, but under the persuasion of Ning Hai, who was good at acting, he agreed to personally carry Yu Yu to War Tiger to ask for the reward. The 5 elite soldiers held the blueprint and compared it with Yu Yu's face. After confirming that it was really Yu Clan's second miss, they agreed to Yu Yang's request. As for Lu Yi, Yu Yang acted as if he was ready to kill her with a swing of his sword. She immediately begged, expressing that she was willing to serve Yu Yang wholeheartedly. As long as she didn't die, she was willing to do anything. If Ning Hai didn't know that this was Yu Yang's arrangement, he would really believe that her tearful voice was sincere. Women were all natural masters of acting. Ning Hai sighed inwardly. Compared to the other party's acting skills, he felt that he was still lacking. His heart was filled with bitterness. Of course, he also understood that if a woman didn't know how to lie, she wouldn't be called a woman. She would be called an idiot. "We can't leave you here. What if you run away?" "No, I have to hold you and walk." Yu Yang untied Lu Ye's legs, but his upper body and hand were still not untied. The 5 elite soldiers had some objections. It was fine to bring Yu Clan's second miss personally, but to bring another woman. However, this woman was tied up and her strength was weak, so they let it go in the end. After all, Miao Su was known as a madman who raped and killed women. In fact, not only Miao Su, all the innates who became innates through secret techniques were not normal. A few days ago, a guy who had just succeeded inexplicably fell in love with eating corpses. That was truly disgusting. The 5 elite soldiers split into 2 groups, 2 at the front and 3 at the back. Half leading and half escorting, they led Yu Yang and his group forward. To them, as long as Yu Clan's second miss could be delivered to Lord War Tiger, nothing else mattered. Ning Hai was puzzled by Yu Yang's insistence on bringing Lu Yi, but he definitely didn't dare to have any doubts. Moreover, he also believed that if Lu Yi was useless, Yu Clan's third young master would definitely not bring her along. Lu Yi also didn't understand why she still wanted to go deep into the demons. Din Yu Yang didn't explain. However, after seeing Lu Ye's inherent skill and guardian beast, Yu Yang knew that not only would he need Lu Ye's unique inherent skill to deal with the Black Hell King, but also to explore the god's ruins in the future. After Lu Yi summoned her grimoire, Yu Yang finally understood why she was stronger than Sky Disaster and could almost ignore his smile. It was because Lu Yi didn't know how outstanding her inherent skill was. People might even think that it was a very ordinary inherent skill and didn't pay enough attention to Lu Yi. Yu Yu could guess that her family's third young master probably wanted to use Lu Yi to do hard labor. She didn't tell Lu Yi because she wanted to protect her brother. Moreover, her brother was also doing this to defeat the Black Hell King, to save the world. After she raised this to the level of saving the world, she finally felt that her brother's use of others was a little justifiable. All right, her brother was a big bad guy, but she could only keep this in her heart. She must never tell anyone. Yu Yu, who was pretending to be asleep, secretly opened her eyes and looked at Lu Yi, who was being held by Yu Yang with a rope. Her heart was filled with sympathy. She really didn't know where her brother learned that from. It was really too much. Yu Yu secretly pinched Yu Yang. When Yu Yang was slightly startled, she immediately pretended to be asleep. She laughed complacently in her heart. No matter how bad and arrogant you are still my third young master. Isn't it a piece of cake for me as your second sister to take care of you? Chapter 435. Yu Yang had played a game called Dinosaur Combat before. Thinking back, it was similar to this. Of course, there were no dinosaurs in this base. Entering the corridor with metal walls, after many identity checks, they entered a few large metal doors. Following a mechanical pulley system, they descended about 100 meters underground before reaching the entrance of the base. The temperature here was completely different from the outside world. The outside world was a world of ice and snow, but underneath the base, there were waves of heat. The air was extremely stuffy, and there was a faint smell of sulfur. Yu Yang remembered that in the evil dragon lair, he had smelled a similar smell. After entering the base, there were obviously more people coming and going. They were all members of the base. Fully armored patrolling guards also passed by from time to time. If he did not impersonate Meow Su, it would have been very difficult for Yu Yang to sneak in, because there were too many metal doors that he had to pass through. As long as the enemy was discovered, even if he could not be stopped, the people inside would have enough time to destroy all the information. Please wait for a moment. Lord John, who just left, we will report to Mr. Feng first. 2 elite armored soldiers indicated for Yu Yang to wait for a moment, and went in to report. Mr. Feng. Yu Yang had a question mark in his heart. There were many people with the surname Feng in the soaring dragon continent, but there were not many rankers with the surname Feng. Could this matter be related to the Feng family? Previously, Miss Feng and fourth uncle's unexpected poison attack made Yu Yang very angry, and he swore to collect this debt of blood. Now that he suddenly heard the name Mr. Feng, he could not help but guess that there was something fishy. About 3 minutes later, 2 elite armored soldiers came out dejectedly, as if they were scolded by someone. Yu Yang carried Yu Yu on his back and pulled Lu Yi. They went in to see that Mr. Feng. Before they could see the person clearly, Mr. Feng scolded them. Miao Su and Ning Hai, are the 2 of you born idiots? Such an important place, you actually brought a stranger in? Even if it's a woman, it's definitely not allowed. Jean, who had warned them many times to guard against traitors at all times. Can you be 100% sure that the person you brought in is not a traitor? Don't you know how important this secret is? If you guys don't know, then let me say it again. This is the foundation of conquering the soaring dragon continent, the starting point of conquering the whole Tong Tian Tower, and the bridge to enter the heaven realm. Can you hear me? Can you understand me? You idiots! Yu Yang realized that this Mr. Feng in front of him was very similar to the old patriarch of the Feng family. Other than being older, hotter, and stronger, his appearance could be said to be exactly the same as the old patriarch of the Feng family. This person was probably a defector of the Feng family. However, Yu Yang had never paid attention to the matters of the Feng clan. Perhaps Fourth Mother or Jun, you would know better who this person was. Mr. Feng, it's like this. When we were capturing Yu Clan's second miss, we discovered this female student. At that time, we were in the middle of a battle. We had no choice but to capture her. Didn't we report to you how to deal with her? Ning Hai quickly covered up for Yu Yang. You've lived for more than 200 years. Are you still a child? Do you even need to report this to me? Can't you just destroy her corpse and get rid of the evidence? I hate cleaning up your mess because my time is very tight. I need a lot of time to research. I don't have time to care about your stupid things. Men, drag her down and feed her to the beasts. I'm warning you, if you want to clean up your mess in the future, then I will throw you all into the demon insect swamp to feed the beasts. I don't care what kind of innate you are. All those who waste my time, only death awaits you. Mr. Feng's anger had not subsided. Lu Yi was so scared that her face turned pale and her whole body trembled. She looked at Yu Yang and found that he was still calm. She was worried that he would really not care about her. She was so scared that her legs turned to jelly and she almost could not stand. 2 elite armored soldiers came forward and prepared to drag Lu Yi away. Mr. Feng, who had finished scolding, casually glanced at Lu Yi. Suddenly, he made a sound of surprise and raised his hand to signal them to wait. The 2 elite armored soldiers naturally obeyed the order. Ning Hai, on the other hand, secretly wiped away his cold sweat. He peeked at Yu Yang and realized that Yu Yang seemed to have known that this would happen. His heart turned cold. Could it be that the Yu clan's 3rd young master could even predict Mr. Feng's reaction? If it was true, then it was too scary. This Yu clan's third young master. Was he a human or a demon? This child's potential is not bad. Her body emits a very strange energy. Hey, do you have a summoning grimoire? Mr. Feng asked. Yes, yes. Lu Yi was scared half to death and quickly answered. What kind of inherent skill is it? What is a guardian spirit beast? Answer honestly, and I will consider sparing your life. Mr. Feng looked at Lu Yi from head to toe, feeling like a poisonous snake staring at its prey. Its purification, inherent skill, and perforate deer. Lu Yi peeked at Yu Yang. After receiving Yu Yang's quick hint, she lowered her head and answered while trembling with fear. Although she was in a panic, Lu Yi still did not say her true inherent skill. She changed it slightly. She said that the cleansing inherent skill was a purification inherent skill. Yu Yang had seen Lu Ye's cleansing inherent skill and felt that this inherent skill was of the highest quality. Although normal people did not know its importance, Lu Yi undoubtedly knew. Moreover, it was very likely that her teacher had warned her that this inherent skill should not be mentioned to normal people. Thus, when she answered Mr. Feng's question, she would rather tell the truth about her guardian spirit beast and answer half-truths than to reveal her cleansing inherent skill. Cleansing inherent skill, possessed by people with high moral character and a kind heart. This inherent skill is the natural enemy of evil. Any negative mental attacks or malicious curses are ineffective. The owner of this inherent skill can purify evil with the purified blood in their body. The purer the purified blood, the more powerful it is. Current inherent skill, level 3. When Yu Yang saw this inherent skill, he sighed in his heart. He finally found the key to unseal the curse. Items like the Gemini mask and the golden bell were all sealed. Yu Yang could use innate qi to unseal them, but that was too strenuous. He did not know how long it would take to completely unseal them. Now, he did not need to waste any effort. As long as he gave Lu Yi some blood and used innate qi, he believed that it would be twice the result with half the effort. The Gemini mask and the others were not the most important. The most important thing was that some holy objects and divine weapons had extremely strong seals. Even some ancient doors, some enchantment entrances, or some mechanisms had different seals. These seals were mostly cursed. Thus, when exploring the god's ruins, Lu Yi, who had the cleansing inherent skill, would be a human-shaped moving key. Of course, this cleansing inherent skill was useless to Yu Yang. It would only be a decoration even if it was given a fatty high in Yikong. This was because the cleansing inherent skill was closely related to the owner's character. The better the owner's character, the kinder their heart, and the purer their body, the more power they could unleash. For a guy from another world like Yu Yang, if he also obtained the cleansing inherent skill, he might not even be able to purify a grain of sand from the demon abyss. As for Lu Ye's guardian spirit beast, Yu Yang also felt that it was a treasure. Compared to other golden tigers, silver wolves, and bronze bulls, it was much better. Perforate deer, special type, deer shape, silver ranked level 2, energy half physical, walks in the void, guardian spirit beast, special skills, air step, perforate. To other people, this deer might only be considered as not bad. But to Yu Yang, it was also a treasure. If it was used in conjunction with teleportation, then exploring the god's ruins would be much easier. At least the outer areas like the Ancient Passage and Death Canyon would not be a problem. Entering the Black Hell King and Jin Kingdom's base. With this, Yu Yang felt that even if the enemy discovered him, it would be extremely easy for him to destroy or escape. The discovery of Lu Ye's inherent skill and guardian spirit beast was the main reason why Yu Yang decided to counterattack the enemy's base. Good, a very good inherent skill and guardian spirit beast. Actually, as long as you have a summoning grimoire, you are an outstanding young man. There are no useless inherent skills or useless guardian spirit beasts in this world. There are only useless masters. All right, don't be afraid, I won't kill you. Instead, I will nurture you well and let you become a strong innate. Understand? You have this kind of potential because you have the purest energy among all the young men I have seen. Ah, of course you clan second miss is also not bad. If you listen to me, I can guarantee that you will become an innate. You clan second miss energy is as gentle and peaceful as water. As expected of a descendant of the U clan, such an outstanding bloodline. This is not something that the trashy phone clan can compare to. Forget it. Why am I talking about this? After Mr. Feng comforted Lu Yi, he couldn't help but size up Yu who had just come down from behind Yu Yang and nagged. Seeing that Lu Yi could even stand, Yu gathered her courage and did not hide behind Yu Yang. Instead, she stood beside Lu Yi and stared back at Mr. Feng. She even opened her mouth to ask, "Who are you to the Feng clan? Why did you capture me here?" Mr. Feng let out a weird laugh. Then he waved his hands. "You clan second miss, don't be anxious. I will answer your question later. It will be very fast. Please give me a little time. Wait until I vent my anger on these two stupid fellows. I really want to endure it, but I realize that it is impossible. Because some people are like this, if you don't scold them until they bleed, then they won't know where they are wrong." This old fellow turned to Yu Yang and Ning Hai, waved his fist, and roared. "Yes, I now understand why you didn't kill her on the spot, but captured a female student with the purification inherent skill. Yes, you think that you are very smart. You think that when I see her, I will forget about Kai Yi, that perfect fighter puppet. Or, even if I can't forget, I will not kill you in anger. Yes, I admit that you are a little smart, but doing this still does not make me feel satisfied. It makes me feel very humiliated. A failed mission, a huge failure. You actually let the 6,000-year-old combat puppet self-destruct. Why didn't you self-destruct? Do you think that your lives are more precious than it? Wrong. Even if you have 10 more lives, it will not be as valuable as it. Do you understand? Do you think that John, who will send out 1,000 and hundreds of imitation combat puppets to complete missions? No, this is only a combat puppet from 6,000 years ago, a combat puppet that can't be replicated. Most importantly, they were personally repaired by the Yu clan's most talented ghost genius, Yu Gong. They're the crystallization of his blood and sweat, and are of the highest quality. Now that the ghost genius Yu Gong is dead, even if there are 1,000 and hundreds of combat puppets in front of me, I can only stare at them. Do you understand what I mean? Stupid fellow, I should not have sent Kai Yi out to do the test. Yes, I mistakenly believed in your abilities. You guys really deserve to die. I can't wait to strangle you to death." Mr. Feng scolded, scaring Ning Hai so much that he almost knelt down. This was definitely not because of Mr. Feng's lesser innate strength, but because of this old fellow's authority. Ning Hai had seen it more than once, towards a work that Mr. Feng was not satisfied with. Even if it was an innate that he had painstakingly experimented on, he would still order for it to be dissected alive. Towards such a crazy decision, the highest leader of the base, Lord John Hu, would always support it 100%. He had even personally strained more than 10 warriors who tried to resist. In other words, in this base, Mr. Feng's orders were equivalent to the highest order. The powerful Zhan Hu also listened to everything he said. Mr. Feng clenched his fist and took a deep breath, as if he was suppressing his anger. "All right, no matter what, you guys still brought you clan's second miss back. Meritorious service must be rewarded. I have always been a person who distinguishes between rewards and punishments. If you guys do stupid things, I will report to Zhan Hu and let him decide. If you guys do the right thing, I will not hesitate to reward you. Miao Su, you can get more beauties and more fresh blood. Your needs, everything will be satisfied. But let me warn you, next time don't do stupid things, or else I won't be able to control myself and kill you. As for Ning Hai, you can get the reward of becoming an innate. You can also use your meritorious service to exchange for a treasure you like. It's up to you. Wait, I need to do something first, and that is to remove all the dragon crystals from the remaining 2 battle dolls to prevent the same explosion from happening again. You have to know, these battle dolls are too precious. With the current puppet technology, it's impossible to research them, not to mention duplicate them. Yu Yang's heart moved. As expected, these battle dolls could only move after being repaired by the ghost genius Yu Gong. 6,000 years, It wasn't a long time for the battle dolls to be maintained. Hence, Yugong also had the same last wish. Kai's battle dolls were already very advanced. They could move freely and follow orders to carry out missions. They just didn't have emotions and rationality, which humans have. If Yuyang could join them, it wouldn't be hard to fulfill Yugong's third last wish. Mr. Feng slapped his forehead, as if he suddenly remembered something. Ah, there's no time. I forgot to negotiate with that guy. Don't leave. Bring you Clan's a second miss and this female student over. Miao Su and Ning Hai, you have to look after you Clan's second Mississippi. If anything happens to her, the two of you will definitely die. Let's go, I'm in a hurry. He opened a secret door and rushed in. Ning Hai secretly glanced at Yu Yang. Yu Yang ignored him. She pulled Yu Yu along and held Lu Ye's hand, striding to catch up with the madman, Mr. Feng. The dozen or so elite soldiers behind him all tacitly followed. However, for every heavy door, they would automatically leave two people behind to stand guard outside. They were extremely careful and cautious at all times. Regardless of whether it was in their movements or in carrying out orders, they were more like humanoid machines than humanoid machines. After passing through 3 large steel doors, they went down the stairs. They walked to a place that seemed like a dungeon. The walls here were no longer made of steel, but a special kind of crystal. Yu Yang didn't know what kind of crystal it was, but he realized that it was very hard. It seemed that every crystal room had a person locked inside. Yu Yang realized that these crystals could isolate qi. He actually couldn't sense who the person inside was. And Heaven Eye's divine vision couldn't be used in front of Mr. Feng, who was extremely sensitive. Yu Yang could only temporarily suppress his curiosity and continue to hold his qi. He imitated Miao Su's demonic qi and followed behind, pretending to be a loyal fighter. In front of the largest crystal room that they saw along the way, Mr. Feng used a secret method to remove the seal on the seal. Although his actions were extremely fast and complicated, but Yu Yang engraved them in his heart. The wall rumbled and opened slightly, revealing a gap that was less than 2 meters wide. In the middle of the gap was a middle-aged man who had his shoulders, ribs, thighs, knees, ankles, wrists, and the back of his head. Yu Yang's eyes were sharp. When he saw this, he immediately retreated slightly. He didn't want to meet this person's gaze and hid behind the wall where the other party couldn't see. On the other hand, Yu, who was beside Yu Yang, cried out in grief. This was because she discovered that the man who had been tortured until his skin was lacerated and his bones could be seen was Yushan, who had been missing for a long time. Oh no! Yu Yu's tears fell like rain. She was extremely grief-stricken. So her father didn't betray and escape to the demon abyss, but was captured by the Black Hell King to be a prisoner. Now, not only Yu Yang, even Yu Yu and Lu Yi, who didn't know the truth, started to understand why Mr. Feng had to capture Yu Yu as a hostage. The reason was simple. He wanted to use this as a threat to force Yushan to submit. Chapter 436. It's you? Goddamn Feng Jin. How dare you capture my daughter? When Yushan saw Yu Yu, he was stunned at first, but then he erupted like a volcano, pouncing towards Mr. Feng like a mad lion, intending to kill him. However, the length of the chains restricted his movements. Even though Yushan was so mad that he wanted to devour someone, Mr. Feng still ignored him. He stood there quietly, coldly watching Yushan's futile struggle. Yushan stretched out his hand, intending to strangle Mr. Feng. However, the rattling chains caused him to stop a centimeter away from Mr. Feng, unable to advance any further. He struggled again and again, but to no avail. Yushan howled in grief and indignation. He was like an injured beast, unable to stop his enemy from tearing his cub apart. Yushan's sorrowful cries moved the heavens and earth. Lu Yi could not help but cry bitterly, hugging Yu Yu, who was on the verge of fainting from crying. Mr. Feng was still indifferent, ignoring everything. His heart was made of iron. Towards this cold-blooded executioner, Yushan painfully slammed his body against the wall, using both of his fists to hit his own body. He also used his head to hit the huge metal ring behind the crystal wall. The huge metal ring was immediately stained with blood. After a long while, Yushan finally calmed down from the pain. For the first time, he lowered his head towards Mr. Feng. His voice seemed to have aged 10 years, filled with bitterness and sorrow. Feng Jin, you win, you win. Let go of my daughter. I am willing to do the experiment. I am willing to give my body to you. No matter what you want me to do, I will do it, as long as you let go of my daughter. Mr. Feng laughed loudly. Ah, what did I say? Yushan, I said I would win. I said you would yield, was I right? Even the toughest clan man will yield one day. Ha ha. What is impossible in this world? Let go of my daughter immediately, or else I will kill myself here. Even if you want to know the secret, you will never get it. Yushan pounced on him fiercely. Unfortunately, the chains mercilessly pulled his body. Even if Yushan tried his best, his fingertips were still a centimeter away from Mr. Feng. This 1 centimeter was an insurmountable moat. Mr. Feng looked at Yushan's gaze, which looked like he wanted to skin him alive, and laughed maniacally. He shrugged his shoulders. Yushan, I feel that your attitude is not right. Smart Yu clan's eldest son. If you were me, what would you do? Humiliate the enemy. I guess you will do everything you can to humiliate your enemy. Why don't I try your method? Come, proud Yu clan's eldest son, bend your knees and kneel before me. Didn't the men of the Yu clan never kneel to their enemies? Come on, there's always a first time for everything. Kneel down, immediately kneel down, or else I'll order people to gang rape your daughter in front of you. What good daughter? She's so beautiful. She's in the prime of her youth. She's at the beginning of her brilliant life. How tragic it would be if she's destroyed like this. Yushan, the only opponent that I am unable to subdue. Come, kneel before me. No, father, the descendants of the Yu clan would rather die standing than live kneeling. We will definitely not kneel to our enemies. Yu screamed. No one can use me to humiliate you, father. Your daughter will keep her chastity and die. They will only get a corpse. She had unknowingly pulled out a dagger and placed it on her neck. Because she was too agitated, the sharp dagger drew a red line on the side of her neck. A drop of blood flowed along the blade and slowly slid down. Yu Yang was afraid that his second sister would really do something stupid, so he flicked his finger and broke the blade of the dagger. When Mr. Feng saw the broken dagger falling down, he immediately kicked it away. Another 2 elite armored soldiers quickly confiscated it. At the same time, all the armored soldiers paid extra attention to the weapons on their waists, not letting you have the chance to come into contact with sharp weapons. Not bad. I won't pursue the matter of how you brought this dagger in. When we get out, I will reward you with a high-class beauty. Look after Yushan's second miss. She is Yushan's beloved daughter. If we want to submit to this stubborn person, we cannot do without her. Mr. Feng looked at Yu Yang, but immediately shifted his gaze. In his eyes, Yu Yang, who was disguised as Miao Su, was only a tool. He was not worth paying attention to. Yu clan's second miss. I hope you were smarter. Committing suicide cannot solve all problems. If you die, I will capture your younger brother and sister. In the future, will your death be of any use? Be smarter. Persuade your father to surrender and cooperate with us. That is the real way out. Ninghai appeared to be persuading Yu. Actually, he was hinting to Yu. There was still Yu clan's third young master beside her. There was no need to be too agitated. With his reminder, agitated, Yu and Lu Yi then realized that things were not hopeless. They looked at Yu Yang with teary eyes, and their state of mind immediately stabilized. Because they were afraid that Mr. Feng would see through Yu Yang, the 2 girls quickly hugged each other to prevent Mr. Feng from noticing anything amiss. Yushan's entire body shook. Tears of blood flowed from his eyes. Tears rolled down. My father taught us brothers since we were young. The Yu clan's men must die in front of our enemies. Goddamn Feng Jin, you can kill me, but don't you dare humiliate my Yu clan. Although I, Yushan, am useless, it does not mean that my Yu clan is useless. You can kill me, Yushan, kill my daughter, but you mother ***** want to destroy our Yu clan's faith, want us to surrender. That is absolutely impossible. That's impossible. Yushan roared. his voice shaking the entire dungeon. I know, your Yu clan is stubborn. I did not say it's not. Mr. Feng laughed out loud. Actually, I really admire your Yu clan. Although you're all mother asterisk king stubborn and idiots, if we're talking about backbone, you are really good. I have seen too many cowards and cowards. I have seen too many people kneeling in front of me like a dog, wagging their tails and begging me. Seeing those rotten people, I'm extremely disgusted. Actually, I really admire opponents like you. No matter how I torture you, you still insist on being Yu clan's man. Just now, when your daughter appeared, your determination was shaken, but second misused words made you strong again. You really have a good bloodline. But you, Sean, if you think that just having stubborn people in this world is enough, then you are wrong. Let me tell you, you are gravely mistaken. Do you want to know how I will deal with your daughter? I will use all the evil methods in the world to torture her. There are hundreds of methods that will make you want to cry, but have no tears. At that time, you will kneel down and beg me. Beg me to quickly kill her. Do you want me to cut your daughter's flesh bit by bit? Such good skin, such a good body. Do you think that after hundreds of methods of torture, she will still be like this? I guarantee that if you look at her once, you will vomit. How many perverted beasts are there here? No, don't even talk about perverted beasts. Even this Meow, Sue, who has a changed personality and likes to rape and kill women. As long as I give the order, he will make your daughter wish that she had never been born into this world. After torturing her in front of you, I can cure her, change her appearance into another person, then break her arms and legs, cut off her tongue, turn her into an idiotic female slave, sell her to the brothel in Shangjing, let the oldest and ugliest brothel customer use a few coins to enjoy her body once. All of this can be avoided. Yushan, I don't need you to kneel anymore. You don't need to kneel. You are a person that I admire very much. There is no need for me to humiliate you. I only hope that you can understand cooperating with us is the only way out. Yushan, I think, with your intelligence, you will understand what I'm saying. Why do you have to cling to that last bit of faith for Junwu Yu and the Xia Kingdom? What are you in the eyes of the world? You are just a defector, a human traitor who fell into the abyss, the suspect of killing your brother, the #1 murderer who persecuted your sister-in-law and nephew. This is you. Tell me, what are you still persevering for? Tell me your final answer. I can let your daughter go. I also like such an outstanding junior. I am not willing to let her fate walk toward a tragedy. Everything depends on you. As long as you are willing to cooperate with us, then you and your daughter can obtain the best things, the safest guarantee. As the most competent enemy, let me give you a piece of advice. Persevering is useless. At least I am not a person that can be moved by some tears and backbone. Don't force me to take action. Yushan, answer me now. Mr. Feng gave his final advice. Boom. Both of Yushan's knees slowly bent. Finally, with a loud bang, he heavily knelt on the ground. Mr. Feng's eyes flashed with excitement. He really wanted to cheer out, but he forcefully held it in. His fist was tightly clenched. The man that he could not conquer for a few months finally knelt in front of him, surrendered. This kind of indescribable success made Mr. Feng extremely moved. This kind of success gave him a greater sense of achievement than researching Mr. Feng's secret technique. The Black Hell King once said, "To conquer Tong Tian Tower, one must first conquer Soaring Dragon Continent. To conquer Soaring Dragon Continent, one must first conquer the Xia Kingdom. To conquer the Xia Kingdom, one must first conquer Yu Clan." Now, he had finally taken the first step to conquer Yu Clan. Yushan finally surrendered. Yu Clan's men would rather die than kneel in front of a strong enemy. Today, Yushan knelt in front of him. Wasn't this the beginning of the collapse of the Xia Kingdom and the entire Soaring Dragon Continent? Yushan knocked his head heavily on the ground, causing blood to spurt out and his head to bleed. His voice came out in extreme pain and humiliation. "I beg you, Feng Jin, let my daughter go. She did not do anything wrong. She did not have the intention to become enemies with the Black Hell King. She is only a woman, a weak woman. You can catch my son, you can kill all the men in my Yu clan, but I beg you, let her go. Just treat this as a father's plea. Feng Jin, you were a father before. you should understand my feelings. I know that this plea is unrealistic and illusory. You will not agree to it. You are a cold-hearted scum, but for my precious daughter, I, Yushan, will kneel to you today. Even if there is a 1 in a billion chance, I will not give up. Feng Jin, as long as you are willing to let her go, you can kill me or torture me. I don't care. I can kneel. I can let you experiment on my body. I can kneel and kowtow to you like a dog. As long as you can let my daughter go, I am willing to do anything. Yushan raised his head, his eyes filled with pain as 2 streams of blood flowed down. Kneeling to the enemy was a humiliation that was more painful than death. It was an action that Yu Clan's men disdained, making him want to die immediately. But he could not. He was a father. He could not die like this. He had to endure this humiliation that was more painful than death. Kneeling to the enemy. Even if he knew that it was impossible to succeed, he still had to try, because it might be able to save his daughter's life. You! Mr. Feng's face contorted as if someone had slapped him a few times. He let out a sharp hiss like an injured beast. A great sense of defeat made him almost crazy. In this kind of situation, Yushan would rather kneel and beg this arrogant enemy to let his daughter go than to surrender. The most despairing thing was that Yushan did not even bother to lie to him. He did not even pretend to surrender. Could it be that in the lives of the Yu clan's disciples, there was no such thing as surrender? Could it be that the structure of these people's brains was different from others? Yu Yang heaved a sigh of relief in his heart. Fortunately, Yushan was still considered a man and a qualified father. Ninghai was dumbstruck. He had never seen a man like this before. At this moment, he felt that compared to Yushan, he was incomparably small. Yushan might not be as strong as him, but the aura he emitted formed a field, just like an innate rancor's domain of power, causing Ninghai's heart to tremble. It was too scary. A man who was not afraid of death chose to kneel. This kind of terrifying belief and hatred, this kind of power, could it really be defeated? Mr. Feng stomped his feet and roared hysterically. This is your last chance, Yushan. You have no other choice. Other than surrendering and cooperating with us, your daughter will be fine. Otherwise, I swear, I will use all means to torture her until you regret it. One word, surrender. No, never. Yushan spat out a mouthful of blood. His teeth were broken. I beg you for the last time, let my daughter go. Impossible, absolutely impossible. Feng Jin was equally insistent. I'm sorry. I'm a useless father. I can't save you. Yushan suddenly spoke gently to the crying Yu. He had never been so gentle in his entire life. His gaze had never been so loving. Only at this moment did he look like a father. Yushan gritted his teeth so hard that blood flowed out. He tried his best to squeeze out a smile towards Yu. Ever since you were young, I've never smiled at you because I value men more than women. This smile is for you. You are my most obedient daughter and also my proudest treasure. I hope that you will not be humiliated by the enemy. If the enemy tortures you, then kill yourself immediately. Don't give him chance. Before that, you have to endure it. After you go missing, the Yu clan will definitely find out. If your third brother is capable, he might rush over to save you. You have to persevere until the end. If I stay here any longer, that bastard Feng Jin will definitely make use of you. If I die, you will be safer. So I have to leave. If you go back and see your grandfather, tell him that I, Yushan, am not a coward, nor a traitor. I did not kill third brother and fourth brother. I, Yushan, am also a man of the Yu clan, forever. If you dare to kill yourself, I guarantee that your daughter will suffer the most painful torture in the world. Mr. Feng frantically took out his dagger and pointed it at Yu's face. I will peel off the skin on her face, no. I will peel off the skin on her entire body. Feng Jin, do you think that a scum like you can scare me? Go to hell, the Yu clan can die, but we will never surrender. Yushan stood up, his face covered in blood. He raised his right hand, clenched it into a fist, and fiercely punched the top of his skull. Chapter 437. Yu Yang was a smart person. But smart people all have a problem, and that is to be suspicious. When he saw Yushan again, Yu Yang did not rescue him immediately. The reason was not because he wanted to see a touching scene, nor did he want to see Yu cry, nor did he want to see Yushan kneel down and fight for his daughter. He wanted to find out what kind of person Yushan was. Was he evil or not? A person like Yushan was most likely an evil person. It would be difficult for Yu Yang to accept Yushan as a great father all of a sudden. Moreover, all of this was too coincidental. When he went to pick up Yu, Miao Su and Ning Hai appeared to attack, and then naturally saw the captured Yushan. The moment he saw Yushan, Yu Yang had a strong suspicion that Yushan's appearance might not be a good thing. It was highly possible that he had reached some sort of agreement with the Black Hell King and was putting on a show. Even if he did not know that Miao Su was impersonated, he would still wait for him to come and rescue him. Because Miao Su and Ning Hai captured his second sister, Yu, he would definitely not stand by and watch. After saving Yu, he would definitely save Yushan as well. Was this the Black Hell King's plan? Or was it a coincidence? Yu Yang kept thinking about this question. If Princess Sisai's Yinji Tigress was here, things would be much easier. Because Yinji Tigress had this 6 records, inherent skill that no one could deceive. She could tell if Yushan was acting or not with just one look. Was he really going to save Yushan and bring him back to the Yu clan castle? Could his words be trusted? Was he acting or not? Yu Yang did not deny that he was a little touched, but he would definitely not let the Black Hell King's plan succeed just because he was a little touched. Yu Yang did not care about the death of 10,000 Yushan. This was not because Yushan was his uncle, nor was it because Yushan was against the pitiful guy in Xin Yang. It was because Yushan had never given Yu Yang a good impression. Yushan was not second Uncle Yuling. He was a truly intelligent person. If he was an enemy, then it would be extremely dangerous. Yu Yang felt that if Yushan was his enemy, he would rather choose an innate rancor like Tiger Nian, Nightmare, or Demon Eye. Because although these innate rancors were powerful, they were not worthy of carrying Yushan's shoes when it came to scheming and forbearance. If Yushan had a fatal flaw, it would be that he didn't have a powerful strength. Once this flaw was combined with the Black Hell King, it would become perfect and flawless. Hence, Yu Yang was extra careful. Ever since he saw Yushan, he had been observing and observing. He had been analyzing the situation from a bystander's point of view. Even when Yushan raised his fist and punched the top of his head, Yu Yang still suspected that it was a ruse. Boom! Yushan fiercely punched the top of his head. That kind of power could completely smash his head into pieces. Mr. Feng was so anxious that he jumped up. He was a lesser-born. There was no time to stop him. Furthermore, with his suspicious nature, he wouldn't recklessly rush into the crystal prison. This crystal prison was a strange prison. It was specially made for the Black Hell King. At any time, there must be a living being trapped inside. Mr. Feng didn't rush in to save Yushan immediately. Instead, he pressed his hand down and sent Yu, who was preparing to rush in to save Yushan, flying a few meters away. At the same time, the elite armored soldiers rushed in without any regard for their own safety. They knew that if Yushan died, there must be someone to replace him. But for them, who were loyal, this wasn't a problem at all. Mr. Feng, Yushan fainted, he's not dead. After a few armored elite soldiers checked, they found that Yushan's head was cracked and his face was covered in blood, but he was not dead. Ah, that's great. Hurry and treat him. We can't let him die. Mr. Feng jumped up in joy. Ning Hai knew why Yushan's head wasn't smashed into pieces by that huge force. The reason why Yushan was still alive was definitely because of Yu Clan's third young master. He couldn't even see Yu Clan's third young master's move, but he was smart enough to know. Yu Clan's third young master must have made a move. It was just that it was extremely well hidden, so no one at the scene discovered it. If Yu Clan's third young master didn't have the confidence to control Yushan's suicide, then he would definitely fly in to block it. He didn't move, not because he wanted to see his uncle die, but because he had absolute confidence. Ning Hai looked at Yu Clan's third young master, who had a calm expression and normal eyes, and a chill rose in his heart. Falling into the hands of Yu Clan's third young master, it seemed that even death was impossible. Luckily, he surrendered early, if not. Ninghai also suspected that Yushan's suicide was a ruse to gain the confidence of others. After all, the Black Hell King wasn't easy to deal with. Even if Yushan was real, it didn't mean that he couldn't change. Maybe the Black Hell King had already subdued Yushan with some kind of secret technique. Suicide was definitely not faked. Seeing that Yushan's skull was cracked after the huge force, Ninghai realized that Yu Clan's third young master didn't stop Yushan from committing suicide, but strengthened Yushan's skull's defense. If Yushan didn't have enough power to commit suicide, that punch would have landed on empty air, waiting for others to save him, or if it landed on his head, Ninghai believed that Yu Clan's third young master would have immediately pulled out his weapon and killed him. Ninghai felt a chill in his heart when he thought of this. It seemed that it wasn't easy to gain Yu Clan's third young master's absolute trust. Not to mention Yushan, even the way Yu Clan's third young master looked at Lu Yi and Yu Yu was slightly different. This Yu Clan's third young master was undoubtedly a natural-born skeptic. Trying to lie to him? It wouldn't be that easy. Yushan's suicide undoubtedly proved one point, that he had not been assimilated by the Black Hell King, and was still a Yu Clan's man. Leave one person in the cell, the rest of you. Bring Yushan to the emergency room immediately. I want to treat him personally. Miao Su and Ninghai, look after Yu Clan's second Mississippi. All right, bring the 2 battle dolls over immediately. I want to disassemble the exploding dragon crystals in their bodies. Hurry, Yushan has lost too much blood. I don't think he can hold on for long. Mr. Feng used the Black Hell Army's insignia to open a seal at a corner. After using dozens of secret methods to unseal the seal, the chains on Yushan's body were finally unlocked, as if they had a life of their own and were clamped down on an elite soldier. Mr. Feng didn't look at them for long and rushed to the emergency room after opening the dungeon door. Yushan's suicide made him a little depressed. In the end, he still couldn't conquer the Yu Clan's men. These Yu Clan's descendants were all King Tough Bones. He couldn't use his life to threaten them. He had to find a better way. But he didn't have to think about that for now. The most important thing now was to save Yushan. When a few elite armored soldiers carried the unconscious Yushan and prepared to follow them, Yu Yang made his move. Without a sound, in Ninghai's eyes, Yu Clan's third young master was like a poisonous snake lying in ambush in the dark, instantly opening its bloody mouth and using its sharp teeth to slaughter. His technique was elegant and light, like a swan dancing or a crane flying in the sky. One by one, the elite soldiers were touched by his fingers on the back of their necks. The place of contact started to slowly freeze, and within a few seconds, the fully armored elite soldiers were like ice sculptures. Yu Yu was still all right, but Lu Yi was obviously not used to Yushan's shocking attack technique. She almost screamed, but luckily she managed to cover it in time. Hurry up, are you all snails? Mr. Feng, who had walked out of the dungeon door, did not notice anything, and even scolded the people behind him for being too slow. I'm coming. Ninghai hurriedly coordinated with Yu Yang and made a running motion. Lu Yi was extremely worried. If Mr. Feng turned around, she was afraid that she would be discovered immediately. And when Yu wanted to summon her grimoire to save Yushan, she was stopped by Yu Yang. Because once she summoned her grimoire, she would definitely not be able to hide from Mr. Feng's senses. This fellow's senses were too sharp. Yu Yang flashed and appeared in front of the next crystal prison. His hands formed a seal, and his movements were constantly changing. Ninghai almost fainted when he saw this. Damn, this Yu Clan's third young master only looked at it once, and he actually unsealed more than a dozen secret seals in the crystal prison. Was this fellow still human? The crystal prison silently cracked open. Yu Yang took a look and kicked an elite soldier who was an ice sculpture into it. He then flashed to the place where Mr. Feng unsealed the seal and used the same dozens of secret techniques to release the prisoner. He let the chain lock the elite soldier who was like an ice sculpture. All of this only took a few seconds. The old man who was released was wearing a tattered long robe. Yu Yang and Yu Yu did not recognize him, but Lu Yi recognized him as a famous hermit from Tian Luo Kingdom. She hurriedly went forward to support him. Within half a minute, Yu Yang had already released 5 prisoners with different identities. but Ning Hai felt like a year. This was because Mr. Feng would discover that the people behind him did not catch up at any time, but they had not even saved half of the prisoners. Yu Yu was so anxious that she did not know what to do. She could only use her fastest speed to stop Yu Shan's bleeding. The problem was that the prisoners that were saved were all heavily injured, and all of them needed help. She could not summon her grimoire, so she really did not know what to do. Yu Yang's nerves were like steel wires, and he persisted in opening the last crystal prison. Actually, Ning Hai felt that it would be good if they could save 4 or 5 people. Even if they saved more than a dozen heavily injured people, they would not be able to bring them away. It would be better to save a few people. The most dangerous thing was that when they were saving the last prisoner, there was an accident. When the crystal prison was opened, a knife immediately slashed at Yu Yang's head. Not only were there prisoners inside, there was also a guard with lesser innate strength. Yu Yang ignored the sharp knife and kicked the guard away. Even though the guard hit the crystal prison wall with a loud sound, Yu Yang still calmly used a secret technique to unlock it. "What's wrong with you guys? Hurry up and come over here." Mr. Feng's voice came from afar. "Yu Shan is awake. He is struggling." "It's okay. We will be there soon." Ning Hai replied with a sad face. He knew that he was finished. Even if he escaped, he would be labeled as a traitor. He even suspected that Yu Yang was doing this on purpose, to make him follow the path of no return with all his heart. The few people who were rescued did not make too much noise. Even though it was hard to avoid the shock in their eyes, once they regained their freedom, they quickly moved to help Yu Yu and Lu Yi. They carried Yu Shan and his 2 companions who could not walk and followed behind Ning Hai. Yu Yang even stayed in there for more than 10 seconds before he finally came out unhurriedly. Ning Hai almost knelt down and called him little ancestor. This Yu clan's 3rd young master was really too daring. Working with him was like playing with a heartbeat. Even if he was not killed, he would still be scared to death. Along the way, all the elite guards that passed by would freeze him, or even stun them. A few prisoners who moved the fastest even took off the armor of the elite guards. However, they were given 1 piece each. Some had helmets, some had breastplates. No matter how fast they were, they could not change into the whole set in time. Just like this, the uneven group of prisoners followed Yu Yang. Even though not many of them knew this young man, they all treated him as their leader. Originally, there were 2 level 8 Emperor prisoners who wanted to help. However, after seeing Yu Yang's skills, they felt inferior. Even if they were sages or hermits who were hundreds of years old, they all obediently helped carry the prisoners. "Hurry up and carry Yu Shan over here." "I said over here. You guys wait here first." "Damn it, I need to save the living first." "As for the battle dolls, we can take out the dragon crystal later." "A healer's summoner." "Damn it, can't anyone understand what I'm saying?" Mr. Feng was extremely busy because the 2 battle dolls had already been sent over. Furthermore, he had just opened their chests and did not have the time to take out the dragon crystal when a group of people came in and placed the heavily injured Yu Shan in front of Mr. Feng. "Can I? I am a healing-type summoner." Yu Yu did not stand on ceremony. She quickly summoned her grimoire and used a water ball of healing to save her father. As expected of Yu Clan's 2nd Mississippi, this kind of treatment is very effective. "Oh my God, compared to you, our healers are like farmers in the countryside." "Did I say something wrong? What's wrong with all of you?" Mr. Feng praised her greatly. In the end, he realized that something was wrong. He looked up and realized that all the prisoners were standing in front of him. He was stunned and could not understand what was going on. "Mr. Feng Jin, I sincerely invite you to my house as a guest. You must know, this is the first time I have invited a guest." Yu Yang kept the 2 battle dolls into his storage space and looked at Mr. Feng with a smile. He made a gentlemanly gesture of invitation. "Please, you look familiar?" Mr. Feng's first reaction was that this young man with a smile that was asking for a beating was a little familiar. Many beauties said the same thing when they saw me. Yu Yang's reply was a heavy punch. Mr. Feng fell to the ground with a loud bang like a log. The surrounding workers were all dumbfounded as they watched the scene unfold. In fact, ever since Yu Yang brought his team in, they had been maintaining this posture. Yu Yang revealed a harmless smile to them, Everyone, I want to know where the secret room to create innates is. Who can tell me? It would have been better if he hadn't smiled. When Yu Yang's bright smile appeared, all the staff in the emergency room couldn't help but shiver. Those who were timid fell to the ground, and some even peed their pants in fear. Half an hour later, Zhan Hu, who had just caused a ruckus in the Dixia Palace, returned to his base in satisfaction. The Dixia Kingdom's heavenly imperial guardian was not bad, but his target was actually the Yu clan's third young master. Unfortunately, the Yu clan's third young master did not appear, which made him feel a little regretful. However, when he saw the devastated base with smoke curling up in spirals and the guards kneeling on the ground, as well as the female slaves who were crying and rushing towards him to complain that they were molested by the Yu clan's third young master, he immediately became so angry that he spat out a mouthful of black blood and almost fainted on the ground. Zhan, who had never suffered such a loss in his life. Never. Damn. Yu clan's third young master. I'm not done with you. Zhan, whose roar resounded through the sky. Even the terrifying cold wind trembled. However, Yang had already returned to the Yu clan castle. He sat on the chair arrogantly. Jun Yu did not look like an emperor at all. He held the teapot and insisted on pouring tea for Yu Yang, looking as if he had something to do. The reason was very simple. It was because Yu Yang had saved Jun Wuyu's father-like teacher, Elder Huang Shi. Elder Yu Hai looked at the unconscious Yu Shan in front of him with tears streaming down his face. A son is gone. A son is returned. This was the best reward from the heavens to the Yu clan. Third brother Yu Qiu and fourth brother Yu Ling would never be able to return. However, this clan had not fallen yet. The eldest brother Yu Shan, who was once despised by the entire soaring dragon continent, had returned. He used his faith and blood to wash away everything. You're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.